Chapter 283. The next day, Old Man Devil made a rare return to the Saint City. Although many people in the Sage Pavilion had never seen him before, they knew that the Holy Son of the Upper Realm had brought his master along with him. They couldn't see through his powers, so they guessed his identity. Stinking brat. Old Man Devil came to Wu Lingyu's courtyard and shouted at the top of his lungs. Wu Lingyu was just telling the Sage Pavilion's pavilion master that he wanted to go out and take a look at the situation of the continent. When he heard his master's voice, he smiled at the pavilion master and walked out. Seeing Old Man Devil sitting on the roof, he asked, "Master, where have you been for so long?" "I walked around." When Old Man Devil saw Wu Lingyu's holy aura, he waved his hand and said, "I have something to discuss with you." The Sage Pavilion's pavilion master had been to the upper realm before and naturally knew how powerful Old Man Devil was. He said to Wu Lingyu, "Since the Holy Sun has something to discuss with your master, I will go back first." "Okay." The holy smile on Wu Lingyu's face remained unchanged. The pavilion master cupped his hands towards him, then bowed towards Old Man Devil before leaving the courtyard. Once everyone from the Sage Pavilion had left, Wu Lingyu leaned against the door and looked at Old Man Devil absent-mindedly. "I say, old man, you disappeared the moment you came down. What do you have to say to me now?" "I found a junior brother for you." Old Man Devil's words drew Wu Lingyu's attention back to the present. He raised his eyebrows and said, "There's actually someone on this continent that you're interested in? When did they meet? How did you trick him into coming here?" "What are you talking about?" Old Man Devil glared at Wu Lingyu. "I recognized her directly. She has already given me the gift of becoming her disciple. It's rare for someone to catch your eye. There are so many outstanding people in the upper realm who want to be your disciple, yet you insist on coming here to pick one." Wu Lingyu said, "Didn't you want to choose a successor? How many years would it take for the people from this continent to go up there? Can you wait until then?" "You stinking brat, are you cursing me to have a short life?" Old Man Devil roared. Wu Lingyu dug his ears to indicate that he was shocked by his voice. "I'm not cursing you. I'm just telling the truth." Wu Lingyu shrugged. "If it weren't for the fact that you refused to come back no matter what, would I have to look for someone else?" Old Man Devil looked at him resentfully. "It was Martial Uncle who asked you to choose a successor. How can you blame it on me? You have such high standards that you don't like those people. That's why you dragged it out until now. Oh right, how old is my junior brother? Rumor has it that he's almost 22 years old. I think there's still a little more than 2 months left." Old Man Devil had heard the discussions of those people on Dragon Reflection Mountain. Only 22 years old, so young. How high is his grade? Can he concoct level 3 medicinal pills? What are you talking about? Is my taste that bad? Of course my choice wouldn't be bad. Old Man Devil said proudly. Even if his innate talent isn't bad, don't forget his character. If he can't pass the Divine Devil Valley's test, even if he becomes your disciple, he won't be able to become your successor. Wu Lingyu reminded. His character is naturally good. You'll know when you see him today. Old Man Devil said. I'm not going. I don't have time. Wu Lingyu rejected directly. How can you not have time? Old Man Devil didn't believe him. I want to go to Sophia Mountain Range. Wu Lingyu said. He had already decided that he would go to Dongqing Kingdom today to look for that little girl. No way, you have to come with me, the little old man said. And you have to prepare a greeting gift. I'm not going. Wu Lingyu rejected. If you don't go, I'll. You'll what? I'll die for you to see. Then you go, I won't stop you. You heartless stinking brat. Are you trying to anger me to death? If you anger me to death, you won't have to die. In the end, Wu Lingyu couldn't argue with Old Man Devil, and followed him to see his so-called little junior brother. When he saw his little junior brother, he was extremely glad that he came, otherwise he didn't know how long it would take for him to see the person he missed dearly. Sima Yue was cooking because Old Man Devil said that he would be back for dinner at night. My good disciple, is the food ready? The little old man and Wu Lingyu landed by the lake and shouted. The Sima family knew that Sima Yue had become his disciple. They heard that he was a very powerful person from the upper realm. and they all respectfully called him Grandpa Devil. Master, you're here so early. I haven't finished cooking yet. You have to wait for a while. Sima Yue was busy cooking. When she turned around and saw the person behind Old Man Devil, she was stunned. It's you. Her surprise turned into anger, and she immediately threw the spatula in her hand at him. Wu Lingyu stretched out his hand to catch the spatula, saying, Little junior brother, is this how you treat your senior brother? Seeing that Sima Yue wasn't in a good mood, that pair of angry eyes were still so lively, and seeing her reaction when she saw him, it meant that she hadn't forgotten about him after so many years. The Sima family all stared with wide eyes. Why was this Yue so angry? She even threw the spatula. TSK, there was a secret. Old Man Devil also didn't expect this to happen, saying, Stinky brat, you know Yue? Not only do we know each other, we even lived together for a period of time. Wu Lingyu said. Bei Gong, come here. Sima Yue said. Bei Gong Tang took out a spatula and stood at her position to continue cooking, but her attention was always on Yue. Sima Yue walked over and came to Old Man Devil's side, saying, Master, he's your disciple, my senior brother? That's right. When did you live together for a period of time? Old Man Devil asked. When he mentioned that they lived together for a period of time, Sima Yue remembered how he played her in circles. She immediately opened her palm and attacked Wu Lingyu, ignoring the devil snare bracelet's reaction when she saw Wu Lingyu. You're not allowed to use spiritual energy. Sima Yue knew that if she used spiritual energy, she definitely wouldn't be Wu Lingyu's opponent, so she shouted. Since little junior brother wants to play, then I'll play with you. Wu Lingyu smiled as he dodged Sima Yue's attack. One chased, the other dodged, and occasionally fought back, but no matter what, Sima Yue couldn't hit Wu Lingyu. Stop right there. Sima Yue shouted when she saw that she was so tired that she couldn't hit him. Wu Lingyu also stood still obediently. Sima Yue struck out with her palm, but he caught her hand and pulled her into his embrace. Because they were chasing, they were already a little far from the campsite. When Wu Lingyu pulled her, his back was facing the crowd, so even if the two were in an ambiguous position, the people by the lake couldn't tell. You bastard, let go of me! Sima Yue shouted angrily. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue, lowered his head and bit her ear, saying softly, Woman, you've really grown up. After so many years, have you ever thought of me? Chapter 284. Hearing Wu Lingyu whispering in her ear, and even biting her ear, Sima Yue stomped her feet in anger. But he couldn't beat him, so the anger in his heart burned even brighter. Ah! Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yue, who was biting him with her head lowered, and a smile flashed in his eyes. Little junior brother, a gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists. How could you bite me? He tilted his body slightly, and happened to present the scene of Sima Yue biting him for everyone to see. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Sima Yue rubbed his eyes in disbelief. You actually bit people. Sima Yuqing was stunned as well. The Sima family couldn't believe what they were seeing. Sima Yue was a pervert in their eyes, but she couldn't beat Wu Lingyu and was even forced to bite him. At the same time, everyone was also curious as to what kind of grudge she had against him for her to attack him the moment she saw him. Old Man Devil also looked over in surprise. However, he was surprised that Wu Lingyu was willing to let Sima Yue get close to him. He didn't even get angry when she bit him. This brat, he's never been so tolerant of me, his master. His sour tone revealed his current mood. Sima Yulin looked at the two of them and frowned. Sima Yuyang took out his fan, opened it and fanned himself, saying, Yu is like this, it's really rare. After Old Man Devil confirmed that the two of them would be fine, he turned his attention to the food. Well, this kid is right. The food she made today is even more delicious than yesterday's. Grandpa Devil, Yu's culinary skills aren't just for show. Now that you've taken in such a disciple, let's not talk about her talent for now. You'll be more fortunate than anyone else in the future. Sima Yuran said as he sat opposite Old Man Devil. Not bad, not bad. Old Man Devil was very happy that he had found such an obedient disciple. He had put a lot of effort into making these things. Bei Gongtang finished cooking and placed it on the table. Old Man Devil took a bite and said, The taste is a bit worse than Yu's, but it's much better than other people's. Thank you Grandpa Demon for your praise. Bei Gong Tang smiled as she went to cook the remaining dishes. When Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu returned, Old Man Devil was almost done with his meal. Master, you didn't say that your eldest disciple was him. She sat down beside Old Man Devil and began to complain. Old Man Devil took out a toothpick and stuffed it into his mouth, asking, "Does it matter?" "It's very important." Sima Yue was extremely depressed. "I have a grudge against him. Now that we're brothers, I'm going to suffer from internal injuries. Then you can find him to vent." Old Man Devil didn't care at all. "But I can't beat him." Sima Yue felt wronged. "You can use poison to poison him," Old Man Devil said. "He said that normal poisons can't kill him because you always give him those useless things." Sima Yue said, "That's true. This brat has already been trained by me to the point that he's almost immune to all poisons." Old Man Devil nodded. "Then you can create a different kind of poison." "I don't have that ability yet." "No problem, just learn from Master." Old Man Devil said confidently. "I guarantee that you'll be able to poison him in the future." "But that's in the future." Sima Yue said. "My heart is filled with anxiety right now." "Then you can bite him again." Old Man Devil said. "Brat, come here." Wu Lingyu walked over and said, "Old man, what's up?" He wasn't deaf. Naturally, he heard Old Man Devil giving Sima Yue a bad idea. "Let your little junior take another bite," Old Man Devil said. "Master, you've only known little junior for 2 days. How can you be so biased?" Wu Lingyu wouldn't go over. Seeing Sima Yue's angry little face, he said, "You already bit me just now. Are you still angry?" As he said that, he rolled up his wide sleeves. 2 rows of teeth marks appeared right in front of everyone. Sima Yue had used a lot of strength. The 2 rows of teeth marks had already seeped into his flesh. Traces of blood seeped out. "Wow, Yue, you're still the best. You've only just met him, and you've already made him bleed. Not bad, not bad." Old Man Devil saw the teeth marks on Wu Lingyu's hand, and smiled as he patted Sima Yue's shoulder. "I haven't even bitten off a piece of flesh." Sima Yue was still unsatisfied with her masterpiece. "Sigh, I originally wanted to specially prepare a gift for our first meeting with little junior. Looking at you now, I don't think you want it." Wu Lingyu sighed and said, "If it's a treasure, I'll take it. If it's not a treasure, I won't take it." Sima Yue said, "Let me take a look first. I'll decide if I want it or not." "But you're still angry at me," Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue glared at him and said, "If your gift is passable, then forget it. If it's not good enough, then we'll continue. Give it to me." Wu Lingyu smiled as he took out a box and threw it to Sima Yue. Sima Yue caught it and opened it. There was a piece of clothing that was as light as wings inside. "Wow, wow, wow, you're actually giving the divine cicada clothing to her." Before Sima Yue could say anything, Old Man Devil shouted first. "Master, what's this?" Sima Yue asked when she saw how agitated Old Man Devil was. "This is a divine tool. When I asked him to give it to my friend's granddaughter, he refused no matter what. He didn't give me any face at all. Now that he's giving it to you, it hurts my heart too much." Old Man Devil howled. "Divine tool?" Sima Yue took out the clothing and looked at it. It looked a little like an inner garment, but the material looked a little like silver fish. I've heard people say before that the divine cicada clothing was fought over by various large sections. It was auctioned off at a shocking price. It's a good treasure. Bei Gong Tang said. If Bei Gong says it's a good treasure, then it's a treasure. All right, I'll reluctantly accept your gift. Sima Yue said as she kept the item. Divine tools were still relatively rare now. Taking one would be a good thing. Since you've accepted my gift, you're not allowed to bite me in the future. Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Humph. Sima Yue ignored him. Disciple, have you prepared my gift for becoming your disciple? Old Man Devil asked. Of course I've prepared it. Sima Yue said. What is it? Old Man Devil was really looking forward to it. It had been a long time since someone had given him a gift. Of course, those who needed his help didn't count. Sima Yue stood up and walked behind Bei Gong Tang. She said to Old Man Devil, "Master, what do you think of Bei Gong?" "Not bad. Why? Now it's popular to buy things one get one free. Since you've accepted a disciple, you should do the same. Take Bei Gong as well." Sima Yue said with a smile. "What? You want me to accept another disciple?" Old Man Devil didn't expect Sima Yue to have such a plan. He shook his head. No, I don't want to accept so many disciples. It's enough that I have you two to play with." Chapter 285. Yue. Bei Gong Tang also did not think that Sima Yue would say this and was shocked. Sima Yue patted her shoulder and said, "Master, Bei Gong's talent in alchemy is also very good. You won't lose out if you take him in as a disciple." "That won't do either." Old Man Devil shook his head. "Master, she is a good seedling. Do you want to miss this opportunity?" Sima Yue continued to persuade him. "Junior brother, Master only has the two of us as his disciples in his entire life. He's afraid of trouble. It's basically impossible for him to accept another disciple." Wu Lingyu knew Old Man Devil very well. If he didn't need a disciple to be his successor, he probably wouldn't have even accepted Sima Yue. Sima Yue was a little disappointed. She really wanted to recommend Bei Gong Tang to the Divine Devil Valley. This way, when they went up, Bei Gong Tang would have more confidence in saving her mother and brother. "Old man, you can't accept her as a disciple, but you can recruit her into the valley." Wu Lingyu did not want to see Sima Yue disappointed and continued. "Really?" Sima Yue's eyes lit up when she heard that. She looked much more energetic. "Master, can I?" "I can, but I want to see how her innate talent is. Not everyone can enter the Divine Devil Valley." Old Man Devil said. Sure. Sima Yue smiled and said, "Bei Gong won't disappoint you. Then you should refine the highest ranked pill that you can currently refine." Old Man Devil said to Bei Gong Tang. Bei Gong Tang was stunned for a moment, then stood up excitedly saying, "Okay." She took out the pill furnace and medicinal ingredients, took a deep breath, calmed herself down, and began to refine the pill. Old Man Devil realized that Bei Gong Tang's method of refining pills was the same as Sima Yue's, and asked, "Did she learn from the same master as you?" "Definitely. She and Ouyingyang were both taught by me." Sima Yue said, "How is it? Bei Gong isn't bad, right?" She's indeed much better than those guys in the valley." Old Man Devil rarely praised someone. Sima Yue was extremely happy. That meant that Bei Gong Tang could enter the Divine Devil Valley. "Master, I heard that our Divine Devil Valley has all kinds of occupations. Why don't you take them in too?" Sima Yue pointed at Wei Wei and Fatty Chu Wei. Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue blankly. Did she want to bring them into the Divine Devil Valley? During the day, they already knew the position of the Divine Devil Valley in the upper continent. If they could enter, that would be the best. Old had Yue. This brat Yue this. Sima Yue quickly smiled flatteringly saying, "Master, I grew up with them. I've been living with them since I was 15. Since the Divine Devil Valley is so powerful, I naturally want them to enter. Master, please help me." Old Man Devil didn't expect her to be so honest, and asked, "What skills do they have?" Ziqi can already tame divine beasts. Fatty Chu can refine saint tools. Ouyingyang and Bei Gong Tang are equally good at refining pills. Yulin is an array master. Sima Yue replied. "How is it, master? Can you let them in too?" Sima Yulin, who was standing in front of his tent, heard her call out his name. His gaze wavered, and he lowered his head to hide his emotions. "Brat, you know a lot of people." Old Man Devil said. "I can give them a chance. Whether or not they can enter the Divine Devil Valley will depend on their strength." "Just a chance." Sima Yue was not satisfied, saying, "Can't you let them in directly?" "You brat, even if I let them in, it's useless if they don't have a valley willing to accept them," Old Man Devil said. "Junior brother, don't worry. With Master's suggestion, as long as their talents are passable, there won't be a problem." Wu Lingyu said, "Those martial uncles have lower requirements for these kinds of people." "All right then, having a chance is better than having no chance at all." Sima Yue did not force Old Man Devil, saying, "But Ouyang Yang and Bei Gong Tang are both alchemists. Master can make the decision, right? If he's like what you said, there's no problem. But let me take a look first." "Which one is he?" Old Man Devil asked. "He's from the South Eclipse Kingdom. He hasn't come yet. He'll come when the gathering starts. At that time, Master will assess him," Sima Yue said. After speaking, she looked at Wu Lingyu, grateful that he spoke up for her. Old Man Devil took out 4 tokens and threw them to Sima Yu, saying, "Give them to them. When the time comes to go up, take this to the Divine Devil Valley. There will naturally be people who will test them." Sima Yue happily threw the tokens to Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu, then ran in front of Sima Yue and handed the tokens to him. "Here." Sima Yue looked at the smile on Sima Yue's face and took the tokens, saying, "Thank you, Yue. You don't have to be so polite," Sima Yue said with a smile. "We're family." After speaking, she returned to Old Man Devil's side and chatted happily with him as they watched Bei Gong Tang refine pills. Bei Gong Tang only managed to successfully refine the pill in the middle of the night. She placed the refined pill in front of Old Man Devil. Old Man Devil glanced at it and took out a token for her, saying, "This is the disciple's identity token. Wait till you go up and reach the Divine Devil Valley. Then you can see who you want to be apprenticed to." "Thank you, Grandpa Devil." Bei Gong Tang smiled as she kept the token. She was extremely moved and smiled gratefully at Sima Yue. She had actually become a disciple of the Divine Devil Valley. This was something that she had never dared to imagine before. "Master, why don't I have a token?" Sima Yue asked. "I only have a disciple's token and I gave it to him. I haven't had time to make yours. When we go back, I'll get someone to make one for you," Old Man Devil said. Wu Lingyu took out a token and threw it to her, saying, "I'll give you mine first." "Then what do you use?" Sima Yue asked as she caught the token. "Senior brother, my face is the token," Wu Lingyu said narcissistically. Sima Yue thought that it was true. He often went in and out of the Divine Devil Valley, and everyone knew him. Hence, she accepted the token with a clear conscience. "This is the gift you prepared for me to become your disciple?" Old Man Devil said. "How could I?" Since she had achieved her goal, Sima Yue took out a jade bottle and handed it to Old Man Devil. "You're giving me a pill?" Old Man Devil raised his eyebrows. Giving a pill to a pill master required more than just a little bit of guts. "Master, take a look first," Sima Yue said while giggling. Old Man Devil saw her confident look and took the jade bottle. He opened it and sniffed. His eyes lit up and he impatiently poured out the pill. Spirit Recovery Pill. Even he was extremely surprised at this moment. He never thought that Sima Yue would actually give him such a pill. Chapter 286. The Spirit Recovery Pill, as its name implied, was a pill used to recover one's consciousness. Its grade was not very high, but it was quite rare because the ingredients required were quite harsh. Among them, the most difficult one was the main ingredient, the Earth Dragon Marrow. However, this wasn't a problem for Sima Yue. She didn't have the Earth Dragon Marrow, but she had the Soul Fluid, which was even more heaven-defying than the Earth Dragon Marrow. Using it to replace the Earth Dragon Marrow was not a problem at all. "Master, I failed 7 times today. I only succeeded with Bei Gong Tang's help. How is it? Can I still impress you?" Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil's shocked face with satisfaction. Old Man Devil kept the pill and said, "Why would you want to give me this pill?" "Bei Gong said that you were once injured and injured your divine sense, causing you to be unable to refine pills to the next level. Furthermore, you even turned into this old man. That's why I wanted to refine such a pill for you. However, with my current strength, I still can't refine a 6th grade medicinal pill. I don't have enough spiritual energy, so every time I try to condense the pill, I fail at the last step. Fortunately, Bei Gong and I had a tacit understanding, and the two of us worked together to refine this pill. However, we only succeeded in refining 1 pill. Her alchemy level could already reach the level of a 6th grade alchemist, but because of the restriction of her strength, she had always been at the peak of 5th grade alchemy. Today, Refining this spirit recovery pill really took some effort. You're considerate, Old Man Devil said, then looked at Bei Gong Tang. You came down from above, right? Yes, Grandpa Demon. Bei Gong Tang nodded. Bei Gong Clan? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes, Bei Gong Tang replied. Her tone was a little stiff, and her gaze carried traces of hatred. Old Man Devil immediately understood many things and said, the Bei Gong clan's younger generation doesn't have anyone as talented as you. They've lost a treasure. Master, I added some scarlet honey into it when I was refining it. It is said that this thing can not only increase one's strength, but it can also make one stay young for a long time, Sima Yue said. Scarlet honey? You have scarlet honey? Old Man Devil's attention was immediately drawn over. Yeah, why is Master so excited? Sima Yue asked when she saw Old Man Devil's excited expression. How did you get this thing? Did you see the legendary scarlet bee? Do you still have any? Old Man Devil grabbed Sima Yue's hand and asked a few questions. Although the scarlet bees are rare, Master, you don't have to be so agitated. Sima Yue was so frightened by his expression that her hair stood on end. Junior brother, you don't know. The old man has been looking for this thing for many years, but he has never found it. He has asked me more than once if they are all dead. Otherwise, why can't he find it? The main reason we came down this time is to look for scarlet honey, Wu Lingyu explained for Old Man Devil. Yue, where did you get scarlet honey? Old Man Devil asked. My own bees produced it, Sima Yue said as she took out a big bottle of scarlet honey and asked, Master, how much do you want? Seeing her take out such a big bottle of scarlet honey at once, Old Man Devil was dumbfounded. Wu Lingyu couldn't remain calm either. So much scarlet honey, ha ha ha. Old Man Devil laughed happily, but was provoked by Sima Yue's next words. Master, don't be so agitated. We usually just drink this directly. If you want, I can give you another bottle. What a waste. How shameful. Old Man Devil snatched the scarlet honey from Sima Yue's hand, as if he was afraid that she would waste it again. Sima Yue didn't think that Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu would have such a big reaction after hearing about the scarlet honey. She said, how would I know that this thing is so precious? Junior brother, you said that this was produced by your scarlet bees? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Sima Yue moved her mind, and a scarlet bee appeared in front of them. It really is a scarlet bee. Old Man Devil looked at the scarlet bee and said, Yue, how many of these little things do you have? A lot. Sima Yue replied. In these 2 years, the Scarlet Queen Bee had produced many scarlet bees. With the time difference in the Spirit Pagoda, there were many scarlet bees now. Then give me some, Old Man Devil said with a smile. Okay. Sima Yue agreed readily. Is 1,000 enough? 1,000? Old Man Devil thought that he was hallucinating, and the jade bottle in his hand almost fell to the ground. Sima Yue saw Old Man Devil's expression, and thought that he didn't think it was enough. She said, Master, I still have to provide this scarlet honey to the Sima family. I can't give it all at once. How about I give you 1,000 first and give you some next time? Cough cough, 100 is enough. Wu Lingyu said. Old Man Devil originally thought that Sima Yue would give him a few dozen, but he didn't expect Sima Yue to say such a number. He almost peed in his pants. Suddenly, he realized that she said she would give him some next time. You have the Scarlet Queen Bee. Yes, Sima Yue said as she called out the Scarlet Queen Bee. She said, these scarlet bees are her eggs. Wahahaha Yue. How did you get such a treasure? With this thing, you can have as many scarlet bees as you want. The Scarlet Queen Bee also felt that the opponent was very strong, so it obediently stayed in Sima Yue's hands. Master, find something that can store life and I'll give it to you. Sima Yue said, do you want to try this spirit recovery pill first? Okay. Old Man Devil said with a smile. I'll eat the spirit recovery pill first before refining the triple yuan pill. Master, when you refine the triple yuan pill, let Bei Gong come with you. Sima Yue took the opportunity to say. Okay, she can come with me when the time comes. He was in an extremely good mood and readily agreed to Sima Yue's request. Right, stinky brat, didn't you want to go to the Sophia mountain range? Now that you've seen your little junior brother, you can scram now. Old Man Devil said. I'm not going. Wu Lingyu said. The person he was looking for was here. Why would he go to the Sophia mountain range? You stinky brat, are you messing with me? Old Man Devil said unhappily. It's a good thing that your little junior brother is so considerate. No. Wu Lingyu said very honestly. He also didn't think that he would meet Sima Yue here. How could he be messing with him? I'm too lazy to look at you. My eyes hurt. Yue, I'm going to find a place to take the spirit recovery pill. The two of you can protect me. As he spoke, he grabbed Sima Yue's shoulder and flashed to Bei Gongtang's side. He grabbed her and brought them away. Wu Lingyu saw that the old man had left him like this and said unhappily, Old man, you're so biased now. Sigh. As he spoke, he also flew away, not caring at all that the 10,000 Beast Mountain was not safe at night. Old Man Devil brought Sima Yue and flew for who knew how long before they arrived at a mountainside and found a cave to enter. The two of you stay outside and guard me. I need 2 days to digest the spirit recovery pill. Chapter 287. Alright master, don't worry. We will stand guard outside. Sima Yue pulled Bei Gongtang out after she finished speaking. Old Man Devil took out the soul recovery pill. His eyes were cold, as if he was looking at the time when he was injured. Sure Typhon, wait till I recover, I will personally pay you a visit. With that, he swallowed the pill and began to use his spiritual energy to catalyze the pill. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang stood guard outside the cave. They leisurely took out tables, chairs and tea sets, and began to brew tea. Yue, thank you. Bei Gongtang said gratefully. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have become a member of the Divine Devil Valley. Bei Gongtang said. To a professional master, being able to enter the Divine Devil Valley is a great honor, and it's an extraordinary position. People from Divine Devil Valley will be treated more courteously if they are of the same rank. That's because you're talented and hardworking, Sima Yue said. Otherwise, even if I told Master, he wouldn't let you in. Meeting you is the luckiest thing in my life, Bei Gongtang said with a smile. I feel very lucky to have met you guys, Sima Yue said. I'm looking forward to seeing the Beigong family's expression when they see you. What kind of expression could he have? My father treats us as enemies. He would definitely want to eat me if he saw me, Bei Gongtang said self-deprecatingly. Your family will definitely know that your father and aunt dared to treat you this way. However, they did not protect you. You must make them blind in the future, Sima Yue said. Not all of them, Bei Gongtang said. My uncle treats me pretty well. It's a pity that his talent in alchemy isn't very good. So his position in the clan isn't very high. Back then it was all thanks to him that I managed to escape. In order to help me escape, he was even injured. Sigh, I wonder how he's doing now. Don't worry about it. It's been a long time since the incident happened. We can only wait for you to go up and check on the situation. Sima Yue comforted her. Bei Gongtang smiled and lowered her head to drink her tea. Sima Yue supported her head with one hand and looked at the full moon in the sky. She said, along the way, we've only been cultivating and cultivating. I don't think we've taken a good look at the scenery. Why are you so sad today? Bei Gongtang said with a smile. It's just a feeling. Sima Yue said. I don't know where my parents are. Wait until we go up. Then we'll go look for it together. Bei Gongtang said. Yes. 2 days passed by in the blink of an eye. Because Old Man Devil had set up a barrier around himself, they couldn't sense the fluctuations inside. They went in to check on him twice, and when they saw that he was fine, they stood guard outside. Suddenly, they felt the surrounding spiritual energy rushing towards them. Thinking that something had happened, they hurriedly went inside to take a look. However, they found that Old Man Devil's face was ruddy, and most of the wrinkles on his face had disappeared. Only his white hair was still as white as snow. The spirit chi surged to this place, but it was isolated and then dispersed. Old Man Devil opened his eyes, his gaze sharper than before. Master, how are you feeling? Sima Yue asked worriedly. The phenomenon just now was too frightening, and the two of them thought that something had happened to Old Man Devil. However, seeing that his body was much better than before, it didn't seem like there was a problem. Old Man Devil waved his hand, and the barrier was removed. He stood up and moved his body saying, "I'm fine." Then what was that phenomenon just now? My old injuries have been healed, and I can advance in rank. However, the spiritual energy in this continent isn't suitable for me, so I cut it off. Old Man Devil explained. Cut off your advancement? Then won't it affect your cultivation in the future? It was the first time Sima Yue heard that one could cut off one's advancement. It's fine, I'll be fine when I reach the upper realm. Old Man Devil said. Moreover, I've just recovered from my injuries. It's not good to advance in rank now. Oh. Sima Yue nodded. Since he said it was fine, then it was fine. Master, since you've recovered, then when should we refine the 3-yuan pill? No rush, no rush. Get me something to eat first. I'll only have the energy to refine pills when I'm full. Old Man Devil said. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang both had a drop of cold sweat on their faces. Did he have to like eating so much? I've finally met someone who likes eating more than me. Sima Yue muttered. However, she resigned herself to her fate and went to cook for Old Man Devil. Bei Gongtang came to help her. The two of them were originally very fast, and there weren't many people this time. It didn't take long for them to make a table full of dishes. All right, bring the soup over. I'll call Master over to eat. Sima Yue said. All right, go ahead. Bei Gongtang smiled. Old Man Devil went to the mountain peak while they were cooking. When Sima Yue went up, he was looking towards the direction of Dragon Reflection Mountain. Master, the food is ready. She went up and said. The ominous ground is about to appear. Old Man Devil seemed to be talking to himself, but also seemed to be talking to her. Master, what did you say? Sima Yue was shocked. Old Man Devil turned back to look at Sima Yue, then looked at the devil snare bracelet on her wrist. After that, he turned back to look at Dragon Reflection Mountain and asked, Yue, what do you think Dragon Reflection Mountain looks like? They weren't close to Dragon Reflection Mountain, but to the two of them they could still roughly see it. Moreover, at this distance, they could see the whole picture of Dragon Reflection Mountain. It looks like a dragon. Sima Yue said, especially when it connects with the surrounding mountains, it looks like a dragon's head. That's right. This place was originally a place of great fortune. However, after the passage of time, this place is about to become an ominous ground. Old Man Devil said. Master, is it related to the ominous beasts below? Sima Yue asked. So you knew. Old Man Devil wasn't surprised. The first time he saw her, she had kindly reminded him. Although she didn't say it clearly, Old Man Devil knew that she definitely knew something. Sima Yue shrugged her shoulders and said, I have an auspicious beast. It is more sensitive to the aura of these ominous beasts. Although the aura is very weak, it can still sense it. I don't know about anything else. I see. Auspicious beasts aren't common in this world. Even in the upper continents, there aren't many of them. You're really lucky. Old Man Devil sighed. Senior brother has a qilin, Sima Yue said. Master, what exactly is that thing below? Old Man Devil shook his head and said, I don't know. It's my first time here. I can only vaguely feel its aura. Master, when you look at Dragon Reflection Mountain and say that it will become an ominous ground, you mean that thing is below Dragon Reflection Mountain? Maybe, maybe not. Old Man Devil said, but I think that the spirit beasts that appear once every few years must have something to do with it. Maybe the people in Sacred City know something, or something is controlling it, so it has no choice but to send the spirit beasts to destroy that place. Chapter 288. Sima Yue was shocked by Old Man Devil's words. That creature was actually able to command the entire 10,000 Beast Mountain spiritual beasts to attack the Holy City. How powerful was this? When I was in the Holy City, I heard the Pavilion Master tell the stinky brat that the 10,000 Beast Mountain is getting closer and closer to each other, and the duration is getting longer and longer. I think that thing might be getting stronger, and maybe it will break out of its shackles soon. I'm really curious about what it is, the old devil guessed. If the holy city really exists for that guy, it means that it has existed for a very long time. To be able to live for so long, how powerful must he be? Sima Yue was frightened by her own thoughts. The old devil was also awestruck. Maybe it's even more powerful than those things above. He might even be comparable to the ancient race. One is the 10,000 Beast Mountain, one is the sea region. Is the Yilan continent really going to fall into chaos? Sima Yue murmured. She was worried that her grandfather and the rest would be in danger if they continued to live on this continent. See, is there something there too? Old Man Devil was a little surprised. It was already inconceivable for a continent to have one such existence. If there were two of them, then the future would be chaotic. Sima Yue told him about what happened when she went to Forgotten Worry Island to look for herbs. She also said that she obtained the Scarlet Queen Bee there. After Old Man Devil heard this, he pondered for a moment and said, "If it's as you say, then that thing should belong to the Dark Clan. I don't know who left it on this continent." Master. Sima Yue felt that someone was approaching and turned around to see Bei Gong Tang walking over. "Yue Grandpa Demon, the food will get cold if we don't go back now," Bei Gong Tang said. She waited below for a long time, but the two of them did not come down, so she personally came to call them. "Let's go, it's time to eat," Old Man Devil said. "What did you make for me today?" "I made a lot. I'm sure your stomach will be bloated." Sima Yue stopped worrying and said with a smile. She was also quite optimistic. No matter what would happen in the continent, it would be many years later. No one knew what would happen in the next few years. Instead of worrying, it was better to improve her strength. At the very least, she could bring the Sima family to the upper realm before she left. Old Man Devil praised them as he ate. "Your skills are so much better than the ones in the restaurants above. I wonder what kind of delicacies the spirit race will make." Spirit tribe? This was the first time Sima Yue had heard of this term. She did not understand. Humans aren't the only ones up there. Many spirit beasts have formed a race as well. Because of their great strength, they are on par with humans. In other words, humans are just one of the many races in the upper realm, Old Man Devil said. Ah. Sima Yue was stunned. Aren't humans ruling the world? You could say that because there aren't many astrals in each race, and the humans have the absolute advantage in terms of numbers. However, it can also be said that the human race and the spirit race are on par because there are many different types of spirit race. Old Man Devil said. Sima Yue did not expect the upper realm to be like this. Humans and spirit race living together broke her previous world's view. "What are the spirit race like?" she asked curiously. "They aren't much different from humans. They always say that humans are weak, but many of them choose to take human form," Bei Gong Tang said. "However, many of them are still beasts. You'll know what it's like up there," Old Man Devil said as he gnawed on a bone. Sima Yue nodded. There was no point in saying more, and it would affect her Dao heart. "Oh right, Master. Who are you refining the 3 yuan pill for?" "Your senior brother," Old Man Devil said. After gnawing on the last bone, he wiped his hands and said, "I'm full. I'll go and digest it. When I'm back, we'll start refining pills." After he finished speaking, a black shadow flashed and he disappeared. However, Sima Yue acted as if she did not see him leave. She sat in her seat and stared blankly. Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yue and asked, "Yue, what's wrong?" "Nothing. Clean up this place. I'll leave for a while," Sima Yue said as she stood up and walked towards the mountain peak. "What's wrong with her?" Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. She had never seen her like this before. Sima Yue arrived at the mountain peak and found a rock to sit on. She looked at the devil's snare bracelet on her hand and thought deeply. After a while she asked, "Senior Martial Brother is your reincarnated soul, isn't he?" After a while, Mo Sha finally said one word, "Yes." As expected, Sima Yue said, "The 3 yuan pill is a forbidden pill for people with incomplete souls. Master said that this pill was prepared for Senior Brother. This means that Senior Brother's soul is incomplete. You also said that Master has the aura of your reincarnated soul. Therefore, senior brother is your other half. You're really meticulous, Emosha said. Sima Yue thought about how she met Wu Lingyu a few years ago when she got Emosha. She guessed that Wu Lingyu followed Emosha's aura to Puluo mountain range. It was a pity that she kept Emosha in the spirit pearl, causing the two of them to miss each other for so many years. Then what do you plan to do after this? Sima Yue asked hesitantly. Emosha was silent. Maybe even he did not think that it would be so easy to find his reincarnated soul. After a while, Sima Yue heard his reply. Fusion. This is inevitable. Otherwise, he won't be able to live. Why? Because as his strength grows, his soul will not be able to support his body. It will become weaker and weaker until it disappears. Emosha said. Disappears. Sima Yue was shocked, saying, From the time you died until now, it's already been over 10,000 years. You must have reincarnated more than once. Why would you disappear now? Nothing is eternal, Emosha said. Moreover, that's only a small part of my soul. Every time I reincarnate, my soul's strength will weaken a little. When I die again, my soul's strength will not be enough to reincarnate, so it will naturally disappear. Then what if it's all of your soul? Sima Yue asked. If you can remember your past memories after reincarnating, your complete soul will naturally be able to cultivate the spirit incantation again. Everything will start over, Emosha said. Then what if the person who reincarnated a few times is not especially powerful? Sima Yue was shocked. If there were many people like him, wouldn't this world be turned upside down? No. Even if the soul can remember his past memories, his strength can only be cultivated from the beginning. However, this person's soul will be stronger than others, Emosha said. Moreover, there are only a few people in history who can cultivate to this level. Sima Yue was speechless. Was he praising himself? Chapter 289. Then when do you plan to fuse? She asked. No rush, the conditions aren't ripe yet, Emosha said. Conditions? What are your conditions? Could it be that he still had to wait for the right time, place, and people? Emosha understood the doubts in her heart and said, He can't right now, and neither can you. Can't I do it? Sima Yue glared at her. Why were her words so ambiguous? Fortunately, she was not a man. Otherwise, she would be depressed to death if she heard this. Your strength isn't enough. Forcefully removing our relationship, even if you don't die, you'll be crippled, Emosha said. Sima Yue opened her mouth wide. So dangerous? Recalling that he said Wu Lingyu couldn't do it either, she asked. Then what about senior martial brother? Why couldn't he do it either? His strength has increased too quickly, and his soul is already very weak. If we fuse now, he will directly turn into ashes, and I won't be able to obtain the complete soul, so I will also end up in the same situation, Emosha said. Sima Yue was speechless. She had found him, but she could not fuse with him. What do we do now? She asked. Increase your strength and nourish his soul, Emosha said. You want me to nourish his soul? Sima Yue was not happy. Although that guy is my senior brother, he's still very annoying. What if I don't miss him? You have no choice, Emosha said. Life is really full of helplessness, Sima Yue sighed. I wonder what will happen if Master and eldest senior brother find out about you. Do you think we should tell them? What do you think? Emosha asked back, but his tone was rather certain. Sigh, with how smart they are, they'll definitely notice if I give senior brother the soul fluid. I better be honest with them. Sima Yue tugged at her hair, unwilling to give up. Wu Lingyu had taken advantage of her, but now she had to save him. She was a conservative person in her previous life. Just thinking about it made her panic. Sigh. She let out a long sigh, but the depression in her heart still couldn't be spat out. When she heard Old Man Devil's voice from the bottom of the mountain, she knew that he had returned. She then got up and went down the mountain. Yue, where did you go? Bei Gongtang asked when she saw that Sima Yue had returned. I just enjoyed the breeze at the top of the mountain. Sima Yue saw Bei Gongtang's concerned expression, and shook her head to indicate that she was fine. Seeing Old Man Devil, she sighed in her heart. If he knew that his two disciples were related to Mo Sha, she didn't know how he would react. Since you're back, let's begin. Old Man Devil said as he took out a cauldron and began refining. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang stared at Old Man Devil as he refined pills. This was their first time seeing a 9th-grade alchemist refine pills, and they could learn a lot from it. Refining the 3 yuan pill required hundreds of medicinal herbs, and they were all related to the soul. It was more difficult to refine them than other medicinal herbs. However, Old Man Devil's movements were very casual. He threw medicinal herbs one by one into the cauldron as if they didn't cost anything. He didn't even worry that he wouldn't refine them properly. Furthermore, after refining one medicinal herb, he would use his spiritual energy to wrap it in the cauldron. He wouldn't take it out to refine the other herbs. Now that his spiritual energy was fused with the essence, it would weaken the medicinal effect. Hence, he could only wrap it up and not fuse it together. Although it looked simple, it required a lot of skill from the alchemist. You can do that too. Sima Yue touched her chin, learning how to control it. After refining the medicinal herbs, Old Man Devil began to fuse them together. This process was very slow, and he only finished after 3 to 4 hours. After that, during the pill refining stage, Old Man Devil became casual again. However, each of his hand seals were complicated. Streaks of spiritual energy were injected into the cauldron as he moved. The two who were watching were dazzled, and couldn't even see his movements clearly. Just as he was refining the pill, the sky suddenly became gloomy. A thundercloud slowly condensed in the sky above them. Pill tribulation. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang cried out in surprise. Refining the triple yuan pill actually attracted heavenly lightning. This meant that this pill was at least a 7th rank pill. Old Man Devil also saw the tribulation cloud in the sky, but he didn't take it to heart. He continued to refine the pill. The pill fragrance is coming out. Sima Yue said as she smelled a delicate fragrance. Bei Gong Tang also smelled the pill fragrance. Just by smelling it, she felt as if her soul was being nourished. It was an indescribable comfort. If she ate this pill, she didn't know what effect it would have. Rise! Old Man Devil shouted. A streak of spiritual energy wrapped around the 3 pills and rushed out of the cauldron. At this moment, the tribulation cloud continuously struck down 3 streaks of lightning, directly hitting the 3 pills. Humph! Old Man Devil leaped up and waved his left hand, wrapping the 3 pills. His right hand continuously attacked 4 times, directly dispersing the 3 streaks of lightning. The last one hit the tribulation cloud, and then the tribulation cloud escaped. Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang's eyes widened as they stared straight at Old Man Devil. Their jaws almost dropped to the ground. So awesome! Sima Yue said in a daze. Spiritual energy directly blew the pill cloud away. Bei Gong Tang had also never seen such an awesome person. In the past, there were people in the clan who refined pills. She saw the strange scene from a remote courtyard. At that time, they took out their spiritual weapons to block the tribulation, but Old Man Devil used his own strength to easily blow the tribulation cloud away. He was really too strong. Old Man Devil landed on the ground and took out a jade bottle to store the 3 pills. He kept it satisfactorily. Haha, I've completed my main goal here. Old Man Devil laughed loudly. Sima Yue could feel that he was really happy. She knew that he was happy because Wu Lingyu was able to extend his life. She sighed in her heart. Although he kept calling Wu Lingyu a stinky brat, he really cared about that guy. She touched the devil's snare bracelet and felt a little more confident. Alright, let's go back. Old Man Devil said as he kept the pill furnace. Master, aren't you going to give the pills to senior brother? Sima Yue asked. Although Wu Lingyu looked fine, she knew that his situation was very bad. His soul was extremely weak. How can I be the one to look for that brat? I feel uncomfortable when I see those swindlers from the Sage Pavilion. Old Man Devil said as he took out a crystal clear stone. He inserted spiritual energy into it, and the stone emitted a bright light. Stinky brat, get your ass to Dragon Reflection Mountain. He shouted at the stone. Very quickly Wu Lingyu's voice came from the stone saying, "Old man, I'm busy right now. I'll look for you in a bit." Sima Yue was stunned again. What kind of stone was this? It was so magical. It was like a mobile phone. You better hurry up. Otherwise, the good stuff will be given to your junior brother. Old Man Devil said unhappily. All right. Sima Yue said with a smile. On the other side, Wu Lingyu heard Sima Yue's voice and seemed to see her squinting eyes. He smiled faintly and said, "Do you want to bite me again?" Sima Yue was furious. Was this guy saying that she stole his things, and he was going to take advantage of her again? Chapter 290. You brat, get over here right now. Old Man Devil roared and cut off the connection. Please remember our website, Beach Novels. Sima Yue's eyes lit up as she looked at the stone in his hand. Master, what kind of treasure is this? Old Man Devil saw that Sima Yue was almost drooling and said, "This stupid rock? This was a treasure? Ignorant." Sima Yue pouted after being scolded by him. "I've never seen it before. What the hell is this?" Mother-son stone. Old Man Devil said, "The mother-son stone and mother-son stone can communicate like this. So it can only be one-on-one?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes." Old Man Devil said. "Master, do you have more? Give me a bunch." Sima Yue giggled. "Sure, there are a lot of these things in the Divine Devil Valley." Old Man Devil replied readily. The corner of Bei Gongtang's mouth twitched. She knew about this item. Although it wasn't as precious as Sima Yue thought, it definitely wasn't as useless as what Old Man Devil said. It was still relatively rare. Now that Sima Yue had opened her mouth and Old Man Devil had agreed so easily, what would the higher-ups think if they heard this? He didn't expect Old Man Devil to really take out a bunch of them. There were at least 20 or 30 of them. Sima Yue hugged a pile of stones and said happily, "Each of us gets one, and each of our brothers gets one. Master, these are not enough for each of us. When you reach the Divine Devil Valley, you can look for another one. You can contact many people. I don't usually use it, so I didn't bring it with me," Old Man Devil said. "Alright, let's go back now." With that, he brought the two of them back to Dragon Reflection Mountain. You're finally back." Sima Yuyang saw that Sima Yu had returned and stepped forward to pat her on the shoulder. Sima Yue saw that there were fewer people in the campsite and asked, "Where are the others?" "He went to the mountains to gain experience," Sima Yuyang said. "Then why didn't you go?" "We just came back today," Sima Yuyang said. "We'll rest for a day before going. Are you done with your business?" "Yes, Master has already eaten the pill. The 3 yuan pill has also been refined," Sima Yue said. "Sister, where did you go? You didn't bring Rainbow along." Rainbow flew out and landed on Sima Yue's shoulder. Sima Yue touched Rainbow and asked, "Where's your husband?" "He left me here, and left by himself." Rainbow complained bitterly about Halcyon's evil deeds. "He left. Where did he go?" Sima Yue asked in surprise. "He didn't say. He just told me to wait for you here. He will be back in 2 days," Rainbow said. "Sister, did he go to some dangerous place?" "It's possible," Sima Yue said. "He didn't even bring you along, which means that the place he went to is very dangerous. He can't guarantee your safety." "Ah. Was her husband in danger?" "Sister, what should we do now?" Rainbow cried out worriedly. "Let's wait and see," Sima Yue said. "If she guessed correctly, Chongming should have gone to that place." "Sister, will hubby be okay?" Rainbow asked worriedly. "There shouldn't be any problems," Sima Yue comforted. "Didn't he say that he would be back in 2 days? You have to believe in him." I got it," Rainbow said dejectedly. After a few hours, Wu Lingyu came. Seeing Old Man Devil eating again, he said, "You've gained weight recently." "How is that possible? I didn't gain weight even after eating so many spirit clansmen." Old Man Devil threw the bone in his hand over. Wu Lingyu dodged it. "Give it to me." Wu Lingyu walked over and said. Old Man Devil took out a jade bottle and threw it to Wu Lingyu saying, "Just 3, it should last you 3 years." Wu Lingyu didn't even look at the jade bottle and kept it, saying, I guess that you finished refining when I saw the pill tribulation during the day. 3 years. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu didn't have any sadness on their faces. She lowered her head, then raised it up and asked, Senior brother, what's wrong? Wu Lingyu came to her side when she lowered her head. Hearing her question, he reached out and touched her head, saying, Junior brother, if I'm not here, you have to take good care of this old man. Sima Yue slapped his hand away, saying, Don't touch my head. You have to find it in these 3 years. I'll go up and find a divinator to see if there's any help. Old Man Devil said. No need, that divinator is your nemesis. Even if you find him, he might not tell you. Wu Lingyu took out a rocking chair and placed it by the lake, saying, If it was originally in the Yilin continent, and he said it was in the empty continent, where would I find it? Since you sensed it in the Yilin continent, it should still be in this continent. Old Man Devil said. I know that, but it's a pity that my soul is much weaker than before. I can't sense its existence anymore. Wu Lingyu said regretfully. Were the heavens really only giving him these few years to live? Maybe you'll be able to sense it again after you eat the 3 yuan pill. Old Man Devil frowned, feeling a little anxious. Sima Yue sat at the side with her head lowered. After Wu Lingyu came, Old Man Devil casually cast a barrier. Although the Sima family could see them, they couldn't hear what they were saying. She quietly listened to their conversation. They didn't hide anything from her, which could be considered as a sign of their trust in her. That master. She raised her head and looked at Old Man Devil, saying, I know where the other half of Senior Brother's soul is. Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu were shocked. Although they didn't hide anything from her, they didn't say that they were looking for the other half of Wu Lingyu's soul. How did she know? Yue, what did you say? Old Man Devil's eyes flashed, his expression complicated. Sima Yue saw the look in his eyes, and wasn't surprised by his thoughts. After all, Wu Lingyu was a child that he raised, so he definitely treasured him very much. However, she knew their secret. If she couldn't come up with a proper reason, she was afraid that he wouldn't let her off easily. I said, I know that Senior Brother's soul isn't complete. His strength has been increasing these years, but his soul is getting weaker and weaker. You're looking for the other half of his soul. Sima Yue told them everything she knew. Also, I know where the soul you're looking for is. How do you know all this? Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue looked at the Sima family and said, Let's find a place to talk. Old Man Devil stopped eating and brought Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu away from the small lake. They went to the top of a mountain not far away. After confirming that there was no one around, he put them down and cast a barrier. He looked at her and asked, How do you know all this? Sima Yue sighed and said, Because the other half of his soul is with me. Chapter 291. I'm in love with literature to provide you with the full text of Crazy Wife, Miracle Dr. 5th Miss. Click on the reading history menu in the upper right corner to find the chapters you have read. It's easier to catch up with books. What? Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu both looked at her in shock. She actually had the other half of her soul? What was going on? Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil and said, Master, you'd better make a barrier so that we can't be seen. Old Man Devil guessed what she was going to do. With a wave of his hand, the scene in front of Sima Yue changed. She felt like she was in a milky white space, and she couldn't even see the people outside. All right, now the people outside can't see us. Old Man Devil said. You can let him out now. Sima Yue nodded and touched the devil's snare bracelet. Are you still not coming out? Old Man Devil's heart skipped a beat when he saw her talking to the bracelet. Could it be what he was thinking? Black mist seeped out of the bracelet, causing Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu's hearts to skip a beat. Black mist, dark race. Sima Yue saw their reactions and knew that they were frightened. Emo Sha's figure slowly took shape. Fiery red clothes, fiery red hair, and red eyes looked at Wu Lingyu. When Wu Lingyu saw Emo Sha, the reaction from his soul made his body tremble. He also looked straight at Emo Sha. Old Man Devil saw his reaction and knew he wasn't wrong. He sighed. He really is from the dark race. Sima Yue was ignored by the 3 of them. but she did not want to participate in their conversation. Are we really the same person? Wu Lingyu looked at Emosha and felt that this feeling was a bit strange. However, anyone who saw the other half of the soul would feel unnatural. I always thought that your other half would also be a life. I didn't expect it to be just a soul. Old Man Devil said as he turned to look at Emosha. He clicked his tongue and exclaimed, "A spirit body can actually exist in a physical body. How strong was your spirit when you were alive?" "He's an old monster," Sima Yue said. "He's been around for at least 100,000 years." Old Man Devil looked at Emosha and felt that the more he looked, the more familiar he felt, saying, "Why do I feel that your appearance is somewhat familiar? What's your name?" "Emosha." "Emosha is a good name." Old Man Devil nodded as he spoke. Following which, his eyes widened as he stared at Emosha. He said excitedly, "You said you're called Emosha?" Emosha nodded. Why did he have such a reaction? Ahaha, it can't be. Old Man Devil suddenly laughed out loud. "You're the sovereign devil from back then? I didn't expect to see you with my own eyes." Sima Yue was dumbfounded. Emosha was the demon king that Old Man Devil mentioned? Where did this guy come from? "Master, who exactly is the sovereign devil?" she asked. "You don't know?" Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yue. "Weren't they together?" "He didn't tell me," Sima Yue said. "Haha, I'll tell you later," Old Man Devil said. Then he looked at the two who were still staring at each other and said, "Since the soul has been found, then we don't have to use the 3 yuan pill anymore." "No," Emosha said. "Why?" Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu didn't understand. Didn't he want to merge with them? "You tell them," Emosha said as he returned to the devil's snare ring. "Your soul is too weak right now. You can't merge with him." Sima Yue knew that Emosha didn't like to explain himself and said, "Moreover, he can't leave me now." "Can't leave you?" Wu Lingyu narrowed his eyes. This sentence made him unhappy. Sima Yue nodded and said, "Emosha and I have a contract. He said that my current strength isn't enough. If I forcefully break it, even if I don't die, I'll be crippled and he won't be able to live either. Moreover, you need time to recover your soul strength." "You have a contract with him?" Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yue in astonishment. That was a great devil from tens of thousands of years ago. How could he have a contract with a little girl like her? Sima Yue rubbed her nose and said, "It was just a coincidence." Then she explained how she had a contract with Emosha. Old Man Devil couldn't help but sigh. "No wonder I couldn't find him when I went to Puluo Mountain Range," Wu Lingyu said. "I missed him for so many years by a freak combination of factors, but I met you at that time." "Humph, I'd rather not have met you," Sima Yue snorted coldly. "Ha ha ha." Wu Lingyu saw her like this and was in a good mood. "So that's how you met," Old Man Devil said. "That's not right. Didn't you say that you were saved by a little girl the last time you came back?" "Old man, when did you become so stupid? Didn't you see that she was wearing young Martial Uncle's illusion ring?" Wu Lingyu looked at him with disdain. He thought that Old Man Devil had noticed this long ago. Old Man Devil pulled Sima Yue's hand over and looked. Indeed, he saw an illusion ring. This was refined by Old Man Devil? How could he have the time to refine an illusion ring? He mumbled. "He refined it when he lost the bet with you," Wu Lingyu said. "He gave it to you, you glanced at it and then casually threw it to me. I was wondering why I didn't have any impression of it." Old Man Devil said, "So you're a girl?" Sima Yue nodded. Looking at him, he wouldn't abandon her as his disciple just because she was a girl, would he? "Master, you're not going back on your words, right?" she asked carefully. "Back on what?" Old Man Devil said. "Although this is a bit unexpected, I've already accepted you. No matter what, you'll be my successor in the future. That old woman took in a genius girl and showed off in front of me all day. When you go up, you must blind that old woman's eyes, understand?" Sima Yue grinned and said, "Yes, master." Speaking of which, he said that he wanted to nourish that stinky brat's soul. However, I've tried all these years, but his soul is getting weaker and weaker. Looks like we have to think of another way. Old Man Devil said worriedly. Thinking of this, he felt a bit uncertain. Master, don't worry. When I met Emosha, he was much weaker than he is now. Didn't I feed him until he was white and chubby? Leave the matter of nourishing Senior's soul to me. Sima Yue patted her chest and said. You have an idea? Of course. Sima Yue said. What idea? I have an idea. Sima Yue said, keeping him in suspense. Old Man Devil slapped her head and said. You're keeping me in suspense in front of us. Do you want Master to punish you? Sima Yue rubbed her aching head and pouted, saying it hurts. Wu Lingyu smiled and said, this old man is impatient. You'll know in the future. Umph. Sima Yue glared at him. No matter how you looked at his smile, it seemed like he was taking pleasure in her misfortune. Hurry up and say it. What idea? Old Man Devil waved his hand again. Sima Yue hugged her head and jumped back, saying, don't hit me. I'll tell you. She took out a jade bottle and handed it to Old Man Devil, saying, let him eat this. What is this? Old Man Devil opened the jade bottle and smelled it. He felt that his spiritual sense was somewhat stirred. Wu Lingyu also smelled it. His weak soul seemed to have recovered quite a bit. Crazy Wife. Godly Dr. Wu Xiaojia's latest chapter / welcome to bookstore. The fun of books lies in sharing. Click the icon to share this book. The more you share it, the faster it will be updated. Chapter 292. What is this? How can it have such a great effect on the soul? Wu Lingyu asked. Soul fluid is extremely effective for the soul and spiritual power. Sima Yue said. Back then, Emosha had a lot. I used this to help him recover bit by bit. It's so effective. Wu Lingyu was curious about the soul fluid. When he met Emosha just now, he felt how strong his soul was. He didn't think that he would actually use this to recover. That's right. After tens of thousands of years, even if his soul is strong, it can't be as strong as it is now, Old Man Devil said, and then looked at Sima Yue with a smile. My good disciple, do you have a lot of these things? Give me some too. Didn't you want to kill me just now? Sima Yue said. Old Man Devil was quite thick-skinned. Your senior brother's missing soul has always been a secret. When you suddenly mentioned it, I thought you were from the 10,000 Flower Valley, and approached us with ill intentions. Now that I know you're not, you're still my good disciple. Emph. Sima Yue snorted, still pulling a long face. I am my good disciple. Don't be so calculative with your master. Old Man Devil actually pulled Sima Yue's sleeves and acted coquettishly, causing his two disciples to have goosebumps. Umph, master, you have to compensate me for my mental loss. Sima Yue said. Sure, when you go to the Divine Devil Valley, you can take whatever you want. Old Man Devil agreed readily. You said that day that it was a meeting gift, not compensation. Sima Yue said. Then what kind of compensation do you want? Old Man Devil tugged at his white hair and said. Why don't you tell me? How would I know what you have? Sima Yue's face darkened. Old man, why don't you give her your thumb ring? Wu Lingyu suggested. That's fine. It'll be hers sooner or later anyway. Old Man Devil nodded. What's the use of this thumb ring? Sima Yue asked. You can mobilize a portion of the Divine Devil Valley's power. Old Man Devil said. It represents power. Moreover, they can mobilize some forces in some cities. So powerful. Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil and said, Don't tell me this is your Divine Devil Valley Lord's signature item? Of course not. Even if I wanted to give it to you, you wouldn't be able to wear it. Old Man Devil said. Why? Did a thumb ring have a request? Of course it's dangerous, Wu Lingyu said. Then what is the thumb ring you were talking about? She asked. This. Old Man Devil took out a thumb ring and gave it to Sima Yue. See if you can put this on. Sima Yue took the ring and looked at it. There was a skull engraved on the surface of the blood-red agate, and there were 2 drops of blood in between the 2 eye sockets of the skull. Why does this thing look so evil? Don't tell me they're from the demon race? She looked up and asked. Turn it upside down and see. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue did it suspiciously, Then her eyes widened. This time I've turned into a fairy. How magical. How did you do it? Don't be so curious. Old Man Devil said. This ring chooses its owner. Most people can't wear it. Try it. Oh. Sima Yue put the thumb ring on her left thumb, and immediately felt a cool aura pass from her finger to her brain. But before she could say how comfortable it was, a hot aura attacked her. Cold and hot intertwined on her body, as if they were fighting for her body. Suddenly, she felt as if her soul flew up and then fell back down. The surrounding scenery quickly receded, and when she got used to the situation in front of her, she found that she was no longer on the mountain. Where is this? There's movement. She felt a spiritual energy fluctuation in the distance, and decided to go over to check it out. She also wanted to see if she could find someone to ask where she was. Sima Yue kept walking forward, and only when she felt that her legs were weak did she manage to climb over the mountain in front of her. There's no one, she muttered. Then where did the fluctuations come from? She continued to walk forward, and felt that her consciousness was slowly dissipating. What's going on? I can't fall asleep. Her intuition told her that she couldn't faint, so she bit hard on her lips and used the pain to stimulate her nerves. What is light? What is darkness? In a daze, a man's sharp voice sounded, like a dry string being pulled. Sima Yue felt that her dizzy brain was stimulated, and became much more awake. What is right? What is wrong? A pleasant voice broke through the air, carrying a sigh. Sima Yue felt a wave of clarity, and the scenery around her changed. She came to a snowy land, and saw a skull and a beautiful woman confronting each other in the snow. What I think is right, the skull said, as if answering the woman's question. Only light should be left in the world, and darkness should be chased away, the woman said. Suddenly, the two of them turned to look at Sima Yue, and asked, what do you think is right, what is wrong, what is light, and what is darkness? Sima Yue looked at the two of them, and felt that they were very similar to the two people on the thumb ring. When the two of them looked at her, she felt that her soul was trembling. Hurry up and answer, the skull shouted. Little friend, take your time to think. The woman smiled gently. Sima Yue took a deep breath and said, there is no absolute right or wrong in the world. The same thing can be seen from different angles. To put it simply, if someone kills your family, and you take revenge and kill that person, to you this is right, but to that person's descendants, you are wrong. Light and darkness, which one should exist? The two of them asked at the same time, as if she had to choose one. Light and darkness depend on each other, and neither can leave the other. Sima Yue said, where there is light, there will be darkness, and where there is despair, there will also be hope. Nonsense, how can light and darkness exist at the same time? This time, even the woman was angry. Sima Yue was not anxious, and pointed to the vast snow, and asked, everywhere is white, doesn't it look clean? But what about below? She squatted down and dug the snow away, and there was a patch of mud below. There's more. She released a wisp of flame, and took out a wooden board and said, in front of the board is light, but what about behind it? It's a patch of darkness. The skull and the woman did not speak, and looked as if they were deep in thought. Sima Yue kept the flame, and said, let's talk about the most common day and night. Can you say that the world can only have day or darkness? She originally thought that the two of them would refute her, but unexpectedly, the woman smiled, and said, very good. Your thinking is very correct. You can't generalize everything, whether it's right or wrong, light or darkness, nothing is absolute. You have passed the test, go. Before Sima Yue could react, she felt dizzy. When she opened her eyes, she saw Old Man Devil and Wu Lingyu looking at her in shock. Chapter 293. Master, Senior Brother. Why are you looking at me like that? She looked at the two of them and rubbed the space between her eyebrows. She still felt a little dizzy. What did you just see? Old Man Devil asked curiously. I saw a skull and a beauty. Sima Yue said. By the way, I think I went to a very strange place just now. Did you see it? You saw a beauty and a skull? The two of them were shocked. They were frightened by her words. Yes, look, it's the skeleton and the beauty on this one. She pointed at the thumb ring, only to find that it had become as big as her thumb. This thing has become smaller. That means it recognizes you. Old Man Devil explained. Is it because of what I just experienced? Sima Yue quickly understood what he meant. Looking at the ring on her finger, she said, Why do I feel that this ring is not ordinary? Of course it's not ordinary. This is the Divine Devil Valley's descendant's thumb ring. Wu Lingyu said. The thumb ring originally approved of him, but he took it off to erase Old Man Devil's approval. However, even if he had been recognized back then, it was not as big as when Sima Yue recognized him. If it wasn't for Old Man Devil's barrier, it would have spread throughout the entire 10,000 Beast Mountain. Successor's thumb ring. Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil speechlessly. Master, did you get the wrong thumb ring? Do you really think that your master has gone senile? Old Man Devil stared at Sima Yue. You want me to be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley? Sima Yue looked at Old Man Devil in astonishment. Of course, Old Man Devil said. How about I don't compensate you? Nothing much, Sima Yue said unhappily. Can I return this to you? You don't want to be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley? I don't want to. Sima Yue rejected her directly. Why? Old Man Devil's face darkened. If his first disciple wasn't willing, then so be it. But now even this one wasn't willing. If word got out, he would be laughed at. I don't like it, Sima Yue said. Ha ha ha. Wu Lingyu laughed. Her reason was actually the same as his. She was indeed the woman he liked. Yes, he had recognized this fact after being separated for a few years. He liked this girl. Since he already understood his feelings, he would not run away. Instead, he would work hard to make her his woman. It can't be helped if you don't like it, Old Man Devil said. Now that the blood ring has recognized you, and it's highly recognized, you will be the successor of the Divine Devil Valley. If you dare to imitate your senior brother, I will break your legs. Senior fellow apprentice has also been recognized by the blood ring? Then why can he do it but I can't? Sima Yue said unhappily. It's precisely because he went back on his word. You can't, Old Man Devil said. The blood ring will get angry if it's rejected again and again. Something like this happened in the past. 2 people had their recognition wiped out, and the second person died from bleeding from all 7 orifices. Really? Sima Yue widened her eyes. I've seen it in a book before, Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue thought of the skull and beauty she saw. She felt that the 2 of them contained endless power. All right. She didn't want to die like this, so she reluctantly agreed. So many people want to enter the Divine Devil Valley, but can't. You actually despise the Junior Valley Master position. You're really pissing me off. Old Man Devil blew his beard and glared. Sima Yu's mood was extremely gloomy and she didn't answer Old Man Devil's words. She asked, Master, since the Divine Devil Valley has 2 Valley Masters, does that mean there's still a young Valley Master? Yes, he is also a demon, Old Man Devil said. You will know him when you meet him in the future. It seemed that Old Man Devil didn't want to talk about that person. She could only suppress her curiosity. She took out a few jade bottles and stuffed one to Old Man Devil and the rest to Wu Lingyu, saying, With my power now, I can only give you 1 or 2 drops at a time. Use it as you see fit. There's actually so much. Seeing the treasure, Old Man Devil's solemn expression disappeared. He opened the bottle cap and took a sniff. What exactly is this? Just treat it as the upgraded version of the Earth Dragon Marrow, Sima Yue said. She said it simply, but it still shocked the 2 of them. They roughly understood the use of this thing. I'm unhappy. I'm going back. Seeing the 2 of you makes me unhappy. Sigh. After she finished speaking, she called out Little Rock and left the mountain peak. She didn't get any compensation, but became the successor of the Divine Devil Valley. This made her very unhappy. She wasn't a fool. The Junior Valley Master position in the Divine Devil Valley would definitely make the people in the upper realm jealous. With this layer of protection, it would be easier for her to go up in the future. But she was a smart person. With great power came great responsibility. There would definitely be a lot of things to do in the future. She was actually a lazy person. Thinking about the things she would have to shoulder in the future made her a little irritated. She's really unhappy. Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yoyue's back view as she left and said faintly, "She has a mild temper, but I believe she'll be fine in a few days." Old Man Devil's attention was still on the soul fluid. He wasn't worried that Sima Yue would be angry. Wu Lingyu looked at the jade bottle in his hand and said, "I once saw a type of soul fluid in a book in the Sage Pavilion. It's very similar to this. Maybe this is the one." "What kind of soul fluid?" "The treasure of heaven and earth soul fluid," Wu Lingyu said. Old Man Devil was stunned. He looked at the thing in his hand in shock. He had also heard of the soul fluid. The more he looked at it, the more it looked like it. Then he laughed loudly. She really is a person with great fortune. After Sima Yue returned to the small lake, she still felt uncomfortable. She threw stones at the lake to vent her anger. "What's wrong?" Everyone noticed that something was wrong with her, and went up to ask. "Nothing." Sima Yue felt that she was angry at herself, but it was useless to say it out loud. She saw that there was a bigger stone not far away. She walked over and picked it up. She inserted her spirit energy, and threw it into the small lake. Boom dash, the stone broke the surface of the lake, creating layers of ripples. Suddenly, a chill rose from the bottom of the lake, sending chills down everyone's spine. "Danger, retreat into the array," Sima Yue suddenly shouted. She turned around and ran back. The others didn't need Sima Yue's order. They had already retreated. The few of them all went back into the array. At this moment, the lake seemed to be boiling. The lake water kept bubbling. Then an aura rose to the sky. However, it seemed to be suppressed by something and was pushed back into the lake. That aura had only appeared for 2 seconds. However, Sima Yue and the others felt as if a century had passed. When the aura returned, everyone was already paralyzed on the ground. After a while, Sima Yue finally regained her strength. She struggled to get up and stared blankly at the lake. Chapter 294. Just now what was that? All the members of the Sima family were drenched in cold sweat, as if they had just been fished out of the water. What a terrifying aura. Everyone struggled to get up, but many of them fell down as soon as they stood up. Although Sima Yue was standing by the lakeside, she still felt her body go soft and a sense of fear emanated from her soul force. As for the people in Dragon Reflection Town, they were all pressed down. Each and every one of them had a look of terror on their faces. They didn't know what was going on. Old Man Devil, Wu Lingyu, was not far away. When he heard the commotion, he quickly rushed over and landed by the lake. Seeing that Sima Yue was safe, he let out a sigh of relief. "Yue, what happened?" Wu Lingyu walked over and asked with concern. Sima Yue turned to look at him and Old Man Devil. Seeing the concern in their eyes, her anger dissipated. She pointed at the lake and said, "It's coming from inside. Wasn't everything fine before? How did this happen all of a sudden?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue touched her nose and told her about how she threw a stone to vent her anger. "I'll go down and take a look," Old Man Devil said, his interest piqued. "Old man, be careful not to die here." Wu Lingyu also felt the powerful aura just now and said, "Do I look like someone who would die so easily? You stinking brat, don't curse me." Old Man Devil coldly snorted. "Master, be careful," Sima Yue said. "Yes. Although this thing's aura is strong, it can't do anything to me." After Old Man Devil finished speaking, he wrapped himself in spirit energy and jumped into the lake. "I'm going back to the sacred city. Do you want to come with me?" Wu Lingyu asked. Sima Yue shook her head. "I'll let you know when things calm down in the sacred city," Wu Lingyu said. He took out a Mother Sun stone and gave half to Sima Yue. "Okay." Sima Yue took the Mother Sun stone. "I'm going now. Be careful." Wu Lingyu glanced at Sima Yue and flew away. At this time, the Sima family stood up from the ground and looked at the calm lake. "What's down there?" Sima Yue told him about how she and Old Man Devil guessed that there was a ferocious beast below. She also guessed that the spirit beasts in the 10,000 Beast Mountain were attracted by this ferocious beast. When the Sima family heard this news, they were shocked. However, because they knew what happened on Forgotten Worry Island, they quickly digested this news. If that's the case, then this place should be very dangerous. Sima Yuyang frowned. Should we change to another place to set up camp or retreat? I don't think that's necessary, Sima Yuran said. Since this place belongs to that fierce beast, it means that this is the center of the array. It should be the safest place. I agree with Yuran, Sima Yulin said. It hasn't come out for so many years. It should be fine in the short term. I feel too lazy to move. Based on what Jade said, it should be over in a few days, Sima Yue said. After some discussion, the Sima family decided to stay. They did what they usually did, but they still had some lingering fears. On the second day, the people from Dragon Reflection Town came one after another. They wanted to know what had happened, and what had caused the commotion last night. However, when they came to the lakeside, they only saw the Sima family leisurely eating. Nothing. Someone was puzzled. They should be fine. Otherwise, why would they still be here? That aura last night was too scary. It penetrated deep into my soul. Too scary. My heart still trembles when I think about it. My legs are weak too. But why do they look like nothing happened? Could it be that they didn't feel that aura? Why don't you go and ask? Okay, I'll ask. There really were people who went to ask the Sima family. However, they said that they weren't here last night, and only came back this morning. They didn't know what had happened. I knew it. If they were also enveloped by that aura, how could they be so relaxed? I still don't know what happened last night. I heard some secret news before. It said that there is a fierce beast in 10,000 Beast Mountain. That aura last night should have come from it. Really? If that's the case, then aren't we all in danger? The aura last night was much stronger than a peak spirit paragon. I think it's at least a divine rank. I don't think it's just that. Someone refuted. I felt the aura of a sacred beast in West Moon Kingdom's Three Springs City. It's far from the one last night. Could it be stronger than a divine rank? How could our continent have such a strong creature? Who knows? Sai, let's go back. There's no point in staying here. Sima Yue and the rest were eating as they listened to these people talk. They didn't think that someone would actually be right. However, they didn't want to say this out loud, in case they scared these people. Seeing that those people had left, Bei Gong Tang tore off a piece of roasted meat and placed it in her mouth, asking, Yue, what happened to you last night? I can see that you're very angry. Sima Yue's mood had already calmed down. However, she still fiercely bit down on a chicken wing, hatefully telling them about how she had received the blood ring's acknowledgement. Everyone was speechless. If it was a normal person who encountered this kind of thing, they would wake up laughing. Only she would be so depressed. Wei Ziqi and the rest understood her feelings because they knew that she was used to being lazy. However, they still mocked her. It's very rare to see you so angry like last night. I realized that after meeting your master, you've already gone berserk more than once. He was talking about how Sima Yue fought with Wu Lingyu when she met him. At that time, she even bit him, causing everyone to laugh at her for a few days. Sima Yue laughed and changed the topic, asking, What has the Nailan clan been doing recently? I haven't seen them jump out. What else can they be doing? They're the same as us, looking for spirit beasts to train in the mountains. Sima Yuyang said, We've met them a few times, but there hasn't been much of a conflict. I heard that the Hua clan will be coming in these 2 days. Sima Yuqing said. She and Sima Yulan would sometimes go to Dragon Reflection Town to look for jade and heard people mention it. Hua clan? When Sima Yue heard their name, she thought of the Hua siblings that she had met in Anyang City. At that time, they had ruthlessly slapped each other's faces. Apart from the Hua clan, the other clans will be coming as well. I think they're calculating that the 10,000 Beast Mountain is about to end, Sima Yulan said. Then Sima Yue had not finished speaking when with a thought, the Mother Sun Stone appeared in her hand, shining with white light. She inserted her spiritual qi into it, and Wu Lingyu's voice sounded from inside. The spirit beasts outside have retreated. If there are no accidents, the Great Protective Array will be closed in 2 days. Chapter 295. For the next 2 days, the 10,000 Beast Mountain appeared to be in a state where all the beasts were silent. Whether it was day or night, not to mention half of the spirit beasts, even ordinary animals were nowhere to be seen. There was not even a single bird in the sky. In the Holy City, people from all the major powers were sitting in a circle, discussing what had happened in the past 2 days. Every single one of them was a character that could shake the entire Yilin continent. Wu Lingyu was among them as well. He seemed out of place with the group of older people. Although he was very young, no one looked down on him because they knew that he came from the upper realm and was the holy son of the Sage Pavilion. His position was extraordinary and his strength was extraordinary. We haven't seen any spirit beasts in the past 2 days. Are we just going to pass this time? A middle-aged man asked. Judging from his attire, he was one of the vice presidents of the Apothecary Guild. A vice president of the Armament Master Guild said doubtfully. 2 days ago, there was a shocking aura coming from the direction of Dragon Reflection Mountain. It should have been released by the creature trapped below. Could it be that the retreat of the spirit beasts has something to do with it? President Wu, you guys know more about spirit beasts than we do. Do you think we can pass this time? That President Wu was the first vice president of the Beast Tamer Master Guild. When he heard the question, he said with uncertainty, I think he passed. Although I don't know what happened over there 2 days ago, it interfered this time and resolved the crisis of the Holy City ahead of time. The gap of 100 years is getting closer and closer, and things are getting longer and longer. I don't know how much longer the sacred city can hold on. Sigh. No matter what, we must guard this place well. This concerns the safety of millions of people. The Temple Lord said righteously. Wu Lingyu sat in his seat without saying a word. He originally didn't want to participate in this kind of meeting, but Sima Yu asked him to come after she found out. She wanted to see if she could get any information. Since the spirit beasts are over, can we open the Great City Barrier Array? It's time to open it. The gathering will be held in a few days, and those families will be arriving one after another. I heard that the younger generation of 2 clans have already arrived at Dragon Reflection Mountain. They are from the Nalan family and the Sima family. I heard that the Hua family has also come, but they are being led by the older generation. Since that's the case, let's retract the Great City Barrier formation. I agree. The Beast Tamers Guild also agrees. The Alchemists Guild agrees. I have no objections. After everyone agreed, they decided to deactivate the Great City Barrier Array after the meeting. This grand meeting will once again determine the status of the major forces. I've heard that quite a few young geniuses have appeared this time. When the time comes, we'll be able to feast our eyes. Someone brought up the topic. I heard that there's a genius alchemist in the Sima family. He's already a 4th-grade alchemist at the age of 22. Isn't he more talented than those kids in the Alchemist Guild? I've also heard of this matter, but that child seems to be more than a 4th rank. She competed with Li Mu and completely defeated him. Isn't Li Mu a 4th rank? My guess is that she should be at the 5th rank. A 22-year-old 5th-grade alchemist? His talent is even higher than Han Brat's. Not only that, I also heard that Li Mu brought people to help the Nalan family investigate the situation. In the end, they were ruthlessly beaten by her. Vice President Qian, is this true? The vice president, who was the first to speak, had an ugly expression on his face. This matter had greatly lost the Alchemist Guild's face. Now that it was mentioned in front of everyone, he was furious. This matter, when they come back, we'll naturally have to ask them properly. He opened his mouth in an unfriendly manner. Wu Lingyu glanced at Vice President Qian and lightly said, A few days ago, I went out with my master and happened to pass by Dragon Reflection Mountain. I heard those people say that day, Li Mu brought people to cause trouble for the Sima family. He wanted to ask the Nalan family about the Sima family's situation, and said that he would leave after winning 3 rounds. However, one of his people was beaten by the Sima family. The Alchemist Guild changed their mind. and said that they would change it to a competition of alchemy. When he said this, everyone looked at Vice President Qian with ridicule and asked, "Is it really like this? That Li Mu usually looks quite honest. Who would have thought that he would do this kind of thing?" The person who spoke wanted to say that he was shameless, but on account of the Alchemist Guild's reputation, he swallowed those words. Those are just rumors. As for the specifics, we'll naturally have to wait for them to come back before we know. Vice President Qian felt that he had lost all his face and cursed Li Mu in his heart. He did not have a good impression of the Sima family, although he never had a good attitude towards the Sima family. At the same time, he did not have a good attitude towards those who spoke. Today, the president did not come and asked him to attend this meeting. He was used as a joke by them and his heart was stifled. He clenched his fists and secretly swore in his heart. After the meeting ended, Saint City's great protective array was closed. Sima Yue and the rest received the news immediately and decided to head to Saint City the next day. After what happened 2 days ago, many people felt that it was dangerous and directly left Dragon Reflection Mountain. Therefore, when the Hua family arrived, they were lucky enough to stay in an inn. "You said that Brother Yulin and the rest are here too?" Hua Zijiao looked at her servant and said excitedly, "Young miss, they said that the Sima family arrived a few days ago. Young Master Yulin is definitely among them." Little Peach said, "Really? I'm going to look for him." Hua Zijiao stood up and ran out. "Young miss, wait. I heard that they are not in the town." Little Peach said, "If they are not in the town, then where are they?" "I heard that they did not have a place to stay when they came, so they ran to the small lake outside to set up camp. I'm going to look for him." Hua Zijiao lifted her skirt and ran out. When she opened the door, she bumped into the people outside. "Why are you so rash?" Hua Ziyan looked at his sister and pretended to scold her. Brother Yulin and the rest are here. I'm going to look for them," Hua Zijiao said with a smile. "Wait." Hua Ziyan called out to Hua Zijiao saying, "I want to look for him too. Let's go together." "Okay brother, hurry." When Hua Zijiao and Hua Ziyan came to the small lake, they immediately saw Sima Yulin and Sima Yu chatting by the lake. The two of them were talking about something, and Sima Yulin's face revealed a shocked expression. Fatty Chu, Wei Ziqi and the rest of the Sima clan members were fishing not too far away. A colorful bird was flying above everyone's heads. When she saw Sima Yu, Hua Zijiao was a little uncomfortable. When she was in Anyang City, she had been severely slapped in the face by Sima Yu and the rest. After that, when she saw a sacred beast by her side, she was even more shocked. She felt like a clown in front of her. However, when she saw the person she liked over there, she still gathered her courage and walked over. Chapter 296. Plus, Hua Ziyan saw the way his sister was acting and sighed in his heart. He walked over and cupped his fist in Sima Yulin's direction, saying, "Brother Yulin." "Brother Ziyan? You've come to Dragon Reflection Town as well?" Sima Yulin stood up and returned the greeting. Sima Yu had long since seen Hua Ziyan and Hua Zijiao's arrival. However, because she didn't like Hua Zijiao, she didn't express anything. Hua Ziyan naturally knew that his sister had offended her at that time, and knew her position in the Sima family, so he didn't say anything. "I'll go fishing with Ziqi and the others," Sima Yu said as she walked towards Wei Ziqi and the others. She took out a fishing rod and began to fish. Hua Zijiao was very unhappy with Sima Yu's attitude, but because Sima Yulin was present, she didn't say anything. However, she was thinking of finding a chance to teach her a lesson. "Brother Yulin, how long have you been here? What have you been doing these days? Do you want to go back to Dragon Reflection Town with us?" "No need. We're going to Saint City tomorrow. It's no trouble." Sima Yulin declined. "You're going tomorrow? Didn't you say that Saint City has already activated the Great Array? You won't be able to enter even if you go," Hua Zijiao said. "The Great Array will close in a while. However, it's too late today, so we'll leave early tomorrow morning," Sima Yulin said. "How do you know that the Great Array will close?" Hua Zijiao asked curiously. You said it." Hua Zijiao pursed her lips. You believe what she says. She didn't see it. Sima Yulin smiled lightly. You use words have always been accurate. Sima Yu heard her name, but didn't turn her head. She continued to chat with Wei Ziqi and the others. That annoying woman is here again. Fatty Chu said. Will she say that we're poor again? I don't think so. Wei Ziqi said. I hope not. Otherwise, we'll have to sell iron pots and pans again. Fatty Chu said. Sima Yu was amused by Fatty Chu's words and laughed. Pfft, you're obviously selling pills and spirit tools, but you make it sound like you're poor. I caught one. It's a big guy. Fatty, prepare a net for me. It had to be said that they were really bold. They knew that there was something big inside, but they still dared to fish here. They were not afraid that something would happen to them. If it were anyone else, they would have fled long ago. Later in the day, the holy city closed the great city barrier array, and everyone could enter and leave the holy city freely. When the news reached Dragon Reflection Mountain, it was already afternoon. When Hua Ziyan heard the news, he looked at Sima Yu with surprise. He always felt that Sima Yu gave him an unfathomable feeling. After knowing that the holy city was open, the people of Dragon Reflection Mountain all let out a sigh of relief. Then they all became happy because tomorrow everyone can go to the holy city. In the evening, Li Mu brought the people from the Alchemist Guild out for a stroll. When they came to the lakeside, they saw Jade and Sima Yu together. Walking over, a disciple said, Miss, the sacred city is about to open. We will return tomorrow morning. Why are you still with these people? Jade looked at them with a cold expression and said, Isn't it still early tomorrow? What do I need you to care about what I do now? Senior sister, everyone is worried about your safety. How can you treat everyone like this? Hong Xia said unhappily. She was obviously trying to sow discord between Jade and everyone. How did I treat everyone? When did it become your turn to talk about my matters? Jade looked at Hong Xia. I was too good to you in the past. Have you all forgotten who you are? Senior sister, how can you say that? You weren't like this in the past. Hong Xia was reprimanded and looked at Jade in disbelief. You weren't like this in the past either. Jade faintly glanced at Li Mu and Wu Feng. She seemed to be talking about that competition. Sima Yue was squatting on the ground cutting the fish. She raised her head and looked at them saying, What, are you all planning to stay and let me beat you up? Who wants me to beat you up until your mother doesn't recognize you? Her voice wasn't loud, but it made the people from the Alchemist Guild take a step back. Sima Yue, you won't be happy for long. Wait until we reach Saint City. Someone will take care of you. Wu Feng glared fiercely at Sima Yue. Still not leaving? Sima Yue stood up lazily and looked at the crowd. Junior sister, it's best if you come back. If you follow them, you might not be able to reach Saint City safely. Li Mu said. Can you not worry about me? Jade said with a cold face. Li Mu glanced at her and waved his hand saying, Let's go. It really affects my appetite. Sima Yue squatted down and continued cutting the fish. Suddenly, her nose twitched and a cold light flashed in her eyes. What's wrong? Bei Gongtang knew that something was wrong the moment she saw her and asked. Sima Yue snorted coldly. Someone gave us a big gift. Should we return the favor? What happened? The others heard Sima Yue's words and looked over. Sima Yue didn't say anything. She only looked at Jade and said, Young Miss Yan, it's getting dark. You should go back to avoid any accidents. Jade wanted to say that she wanted to stay. She was afraid that Li Mu and the others would do something bad to them. However, when she saw Sima Yue's expression, she felt that her worries were unnecessary. All right then. I'll go back first. When you go to Saint City and meet the Northern Yanli clan, avoid them if you can. She reminded. After speaking, she bid farewell to Sima Yuqing and the others and left. Sima Yue turned around and looked at Sima Yulin. Sima Yulin understood what she meant and said to the Hua siblings, Brother Ziyan, it's getting late. Why don't you go back first? Since we're going to Saint City tomorrow, we'll meet again tomorrow morning. Although Hua Ziyan didn't know what had happened, since the other party had already said so, he could only bring Hua Zijiao, who kept looking back at him, back to Dragon Reflection Mountain. Once they had all left, Fatty Chu asked, Yu, what's wrong? Smell it. There's a faint fragrance. Sima Yue said. Fatty Chu and the Sima family sniffed hard, then shook their heads, saying, I can't smell it. It smells like orchids. It's faintly discernible. You don't have much contact with herbs, so it's normal that you can't smell it. Sima Yue said. What's orchids? It's an aphrodisiac that attracts spirit beasts. Furthermore, it only works on divine beasts. Sima Yue said. Tonight, there will be many spirit beasts coming to visit us. Then what do we do? Sima Yuqing asked anxiously. Although they had divine beasts, if too many spirit beasts came, they wouldn't be able to handle it. What else can we do? Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earthweir. If the spirit beasts come, we can only wait. Sima Yue wasn't worried at all. But ever since Li Mu and the others came, we've been guarding against them. We didn't see them do anything. How did you get the orchid fragrance? Chapter 297. This was the question in everyone's mind. Because of the conflict with the Alchemist Guild, they had been on guard ever since Li Mu and the others arrived. Their eyes never left them, so they didn't notice any movements from them. I think they scattered it on their bodies, Sima Yue said. But wouldn't they be attacked as well? Sima Yulan didn't understand. But where are they now? Sima Yue asked instead of answering. Back to Dragon Reflection Town? Sima Yulan said, then suddenly realized. Dragon Reflection Town has an array. Seeing a large group of spirit beasts attack, the people of Dragon Reflection Town will definitely open the array. They'll be fine inside. Not bad. Sima Yue nodded. Tomorrow morning, the orchid fragrance on their bodies will be gone, and they will be able to come out. These alchemists, each and every one of them is too vicious. Sima Yuqing said hatefully. It doesn't matter. We'll return the favor one day. Sima Yue sneered. Those who schemed against her should be prepared to be schemed against. Then what do we do now? Sima Yulin frowned. This formation has never been used since it was set up. Tonight, I will show you its power. Sima Yue said confidently. He had learned this array from Sima Lin, and it was not any weaker than the defensive array of the Dragon Reflection Mountain. Hearing her say that, the Sima clansmen all relaxed. Sima Yulin looked at her and saw the confident smile on her face. He sighed that she was always able to make people feel at ease and trust her. Therefore, everyone went on as usual, as if they were not affected by this matter. A shadow left the mountain and ran towards Dragon Reflection Mountain. Sima Yue looked in that direction with a cold glint in her eyes. In Longtu Town, Li Mu received the news that Sima Yue and the rest did not find out about Lan Xiang, and were still at the lakeside. Let's see who can save them at night, Li Mu said with a laugh. Red Cloud stood by his side and said, Senior brother Li, if the younger generation of the Sima family dies, will the Sima family find trouble with us? What are you afraid of? Li Mu said without worry. Who will know that we did it? Lan Xiang would be gone by the next morning, and those people would not be able to find any clues even if they wanted to. Besides, could the Sima family be ranked among the first-class forces without the younger generation? Don't forget that we are the Alchemist Union. Who dares to find trouble with us? Senior brother is right. Wu Feng flattered. Then we'll be waiting for a good show tonight. Red Cloud put aside her worries and said with a smile. Yes, let's inform the mayor first, and ask him to prepare to activate the defense array. Otherwise, even we will suffer, Li Mu ordered. Yes, senior brother. Someone ran out, and went to inform the mayor. However, he naturally wouldn't say that it was because they had sprinkled the orchid fragrance. He only said that they had received news that many of the divine beasts that had besieged the holy city had come here. The mayor was suspicious. Didn't the divine beasts already pass by? Why would they still attack here? However, his suspicions were just suspicions. He still sent people to the mountain to observe the situation outside. Once the divine beasts attacked, they would immediately activate the defense array. At night, Sima Yue and the rest were still playing by the lake, allowing Li Mu and the rest who were secretly observing the situation to relax. They were really worried that the Sima family would notice them halfway and retreat to Dragon Reflection Town. If that happened, they would have wasted their efforts today. Sima Yue was currently asking Fatty Chu to refine a spirit tool oven for her. The kind that didn't use electricity and only used a spirit tool to activate it. Although Fatty Chu usually looked a little dumb, he had extraordinary talent in the area of armament refining. After Sima Yu explained the use of the oven to him, he knew the structure of this kind of oven. Of course, even so, it took him a few days to figure out how to refine the oven. Hence, since he had time today, he fulfilled everyone's request and started refining tools in front of everyone. When the Sima family heard that they could watch him refine tools, they were all extremely excited. However, when they found out that he was refining the oven for Sima Yue, they were all dumbfounded. This fellow really deserved a beating. Was his talent supposed to be used like this? Thinking about it was just thinking about it. Everyone still ran over to watch. Sima Yue had never seen him refine tools before. Every time, she would tell Fatty Chu what she wanted him to refine, and then he would refine it himself and give her the finished product. This was the first time she was looking at it carefully. Suddenly, her gaze turned towards the mountain and she said, "They're here." Everyone knew what she was talking about, and they were all on their guard. Roar dash! A wood dash! A group of divine beasts ran down from the mountain under the moonlight. Each of them had a manic look in their eyes. It was obvious that they had been provoked by something. So many. When everyone saw the divine beasts rushing down, they were all stunned. It's fine if they don't come, but when they do, there are so many of them. Everyone was stunned. What's going on? Why are they all coming together? Because the orchid fragrance has the greatest effect at night. During the day, the divine beasts can still control themselves after smelling it. However, at night, they can't control themselves. Sima Yue said as she injected spiritual energy into the ground. The array was activated and everyone was trapped inside. When the people sent by the mayor saw the group of divine beasts rushing over, they shouted from the top of the mountain. The beasts are attacking. Activate the defensive array, the highest grade defensive array. The mayor did not cultivate tonight, and had been waiting for the situation outside. When he heard the voice from the top of the mountain, he immediately ordered the spirit masters guarding the array. Quickly activate the array. His voice spread to all corners of the town. The 8 spirit masters immediately took action, and injected spiritual energy into a rock on the ground. The defensive array was immediately activated, and a few directions lit up with a dazzling white light. A layer of ripples lit up the sky and enveloped the entire Dragon Reflection Town. What happened? Is there? Why did the defensive array activate? A large group of divine beasts is attacking. The person on the top of the mountain shouted again to let the people who had just woken up understand what was happening. Many people flew to the top of the mountain to see the situation outside. When they saw the group of divine beasts rushing over, they were all stunned. Heavens, isn't the divine beasts already over? Even if the 10,000 Beast Mountain isn't safe at night, there shouldn't be so many divine beasts. Oh no, the Sima family is still outside. There's no other way. Once the defensive array is activated, no one can enter or leave. They can't come in now. Then aren't they in danger? Brother Elin and the rest are still outside. Father, save them. Hua Zijiao said anxiously. It's too late. The defensive array has already been activated. Unless the array is closed, even I can't get out. Then what about them? Hua Zijiao cried. They can only leave it to the heavens. There are so many divine beasts outside and many of them are spirit paragons. They definitely won't be able to escape. The people from the Alchemist Guild said eccentrically. This was also what everyone was thinking. No, they will be fine. Look. Someone pointed below and shouted. Chapter 298. The group of divine beasts had already neared Dragon Reflection Mountain, and many people saw them running across the lake towards Dragon Reflection Town. Just when everyone thought that the Sima family would definitely die, a white light shone from the small lake, almost illuminating the entire night. What is that? Someone exclaimed. That's a defensive array. The defense array has surrounded them. Why is there a defense array by the lake? Idiot. Since when was there a defense array by the lake? That's the defensive array set up by the Sima family. Isn't that a group of young people? How can he set up a defense array? That's right. There must be a formation master among them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to set up a formation. Did you just find out? Brother Yulin is an array master. Hua Zijiao said proudly. At this moment, there was no longer any worry on her face. With the defense array, they would definitely be able to survive this calamity. That's not right. I know Yulin's array. It's impossible for him to set up such a strong defensive array, Hua Ziyan said as he looked at the bright and eye-catching defensive array below. You're saying that it wasn't set up by Big Brother Yulin? Other than him, who else is an array master? Hua Zijiao asked in disbelief. 2 years ago, I saw him set up an array. It was much worse than this, Hua Ziyan said. It must be because of his rapid progress in the past 2 years. Otherwise, apart from him, who else in the younger generation of the Sima family would have such a high level of cultivation? Perhaps. Hua Ziyan did not continue arguing. Instead, he looked down at the defense array. This spirit beast will usually last for the entire night. This defense array is not about its current effect, but its endurance. If it can't last for the entire night, they will still lose their lives. Wu Feng coldly snorted. That's right. Maybe the formation will be useless in a while. A formation set up by a young man. I'm sure it won't be of much use. An older man said. Everyone was certain that the array formation by the lake would be destroyed very quickly. However, the light did not disappear for the entire night, and all the spirit beasts retreated in the morning. Beside the lake, Sima Yuyu and the others were initially very nervous and called out their divine beasts to prepare for battle. Only Sima Yuyu and the others were still calmly refining the oven, not worried at all that the array would be broken by the spirit beasts. It was only until the latter half of the night that everyone felt relieved. This was because the formation was still stable under the attacks of so many spirit beasts. It did not even shake at all. Yuyu, how is your array so powerful? Sima Yuyang came over and asked. Fatty Chu's oven was already in its final stages, so there was no need for Sima Yue to tell him how to do it. This formation is the strongest formation that I can set up right now. It has a certain degree of immunity against spirit energy attacks. It's not that the spirit beast's attacks aren't strong, it's just that they aren't strong enough. All of them were transferred underground by the formation. As long as it's not a divine beast of level 5 or above, it won't cause much harm to it. She explained. Why does this array sound so familiar? Sima Yuyang said. This is the clan's defensive array. Right now the Sima residence's defensive array is this. Sima Yulin said from the side. What? Sima Yuyang's eyes widened. This is the clan's protective array? You even know how to do this? Grandpa Lin taught me. Sima Yue was rather surprised as well. When Sima Lin taught her this array, he did not say that it was the clan's protective array. He only said that it was a very strong defensive array. However, I can only set up this kind of array right now. If the area is too big, it won't be of much use. Even if it's like this, it's still very powerful. Sima Yuyang looked at Sima Yue in admiration, saying, Yuyu, you're really my idol. Idol, I'm going to vomit on you. Don't ever say that to me again. Sima Yue continued to watch Fatty Chu refine tools after she finished speaking. Seeing how Fatty Chu was sweating profusely, she could not help but sigh. It was no wonder that alchemists were rarer than armament masters. If you didn't have any strength, you wouldn't be able to do this job. Outside the array, the spirit beasts attacked the array restlessly. However, Sima Yue and the others inside were not anxious at all. On the second morning, they watched as the array was still standing by the lake. Alright, the beast wave has finally dispersed, Sima Yue said. Although they believed in Sima Yue's abilities, they still maintained their vigilance. If the array was broken, they would be able to react immediately. Sima Yue closed the array, and the people standing on Dragon Reflection Mountain were able to see what was happening inside. Is he refining tools? The people on the mountaintop saw Fatty Chu refining tools calmly and their eyes widened. There are still people eating over there. Wei Ziqi, Sima Yuming and the others were sitting in front of the table eating breakfast. That calm look did not look like they had been attacked by divine beasts for an entire night. The Sima family is really carefree. Someone sighed. Humph, I told you that big brother Yulin's array would be fine. Hua Zijiao said as she looked over at Li Mu and the others. Yulin's array has indeed improved greatly, Hua Ziyan's father said. That's right. I think that this child, Yulin, will walk very far on the path of arrays. That's right, the Sima family will have another array master in the future. Sima Lin is really lucky to have this kind of grandson. The Hua family was full of praise for Sima Yulin. The younger generation was full of admiration for him. Even the people on Dragon Reflection Mountain were full of praise. Only Jade knew that this array was not set up by Sima Yulin at all. It was set up by Sima Yue, the person who was also talented in alchemy. At first, she did not think much of Sima Yue's array. After all, her age was in front of everyone. She was also very accomplished in alchemy, so she thought that her time and energy should be devoted to alchemy. However, she never thought that Sima Yue's array would be comparable to Dragon Reflection Mountain's array. Last night, she had been paying attention to the situation below. She realized that Dragon Reflection Mountain's array shook a few times, but Sima Yue's array continued to shine. How could she not be shocked? No wonder they call her a monster, a demon. Beside the lake, Fatty Chu finished refining the furnace and handed it to Sima Yue saying, "Take a look and see if it works." Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu, who had been busy the entire afternoon and night, and took out some spirit fruits for him saying, "It's been hard on you. I didn't realize it before, but now I know that refining tools is so difficult. Take a look and see if it works." It was Fatty Chu's first time refining something like this, so there was no guarantee that it would work. Sima Yue kept the furnace in her interspatial ring saying, "We'll see when we get back. I'm going to keep the array now. Let's go to Saint City." She went to keep the array stones, and saw that many of them had already cracked. She shook her head and sighed. It's a good thing that the spirit beasts have already retreated. Otherwise, this array would not be able to hold on for much longer. She kept all the array stones, and the Sima family tidied up their tents. At this time, a group of people walked over from Dragon Reflection Town. Chapter 299. Sima Yuyang and the others saw the people who walked over, and their eyes flashed. However, they still brought their men to greet them. "Greetings to Grandpa Hua and all the seniors," he said. Hua Zhengxing, Hua Ziyan and the others' grandfather, the current head of the Hua clan, extended a hand to support him, saying, "Yuyang, were you injured last night?" "Grandpa Hua, we're fine. We're not injured," Sima Yuyang replied with a smile. "When we found out about what happened last night, the town's protective array had already been activated. Although we are spirit paragons, we can't enter and exit the array as we wish. We didn't take care of you. Please don't take it to heart," Hua Zhengxing said. "Thank you for your concern, Grandpa Hua. We've caused you to worry. We're very safe in the array," Sima Yuyang replied politely. "Has the array been retracted?" "Yes, because we're going to Saint City in a while, we've retracted the array." "Yulin, your array skills have improved by quite a bit. You're actually able to set up such a powerful array this time. Your future is limitless." Sima Yulin's expression was a little unnatural, saying, "This array wasn't set up by me." "Not you. Then who is it?" The Hua clansmen swept their eyes over the Sima clan in shock, wanting to see whose array skills were better than Sima Yulin's. "It's Yuyu," Sima Yulin said. "Who is Sima Yuyu?" Sima Yuyu was standing at the back of the crowd. Initially, she was still lamenting that this guy, Sima Yuyang, didn't seem to be a proper person. Now that he was interacting with the Hua clansmen, he seemed to be a proper person. When she suddenly heard them mention her name, she lowered her head and muttered a few words. However, no matter what, she still stood out and bowed to Hua Zhengxing, saying, "This junior greets Hua Zhengxing. You're Sima Yuyu? Was that array set up by you?" When Hua Zhengxing saw Sima Yuyu, he finally remembered that Sima Yuyu had caused a ruckus in the Sima clan. That's this junior. Sima Yuyu replied. I didn't expect you to be so talented. You've achieved so much at such a young age. Hua Zhengxing nodded in approval when he saw that Sima Yuyu was neither arrogant nor rash. Hua Ziyan and Hua Zijiao looked at Sima Yuyu in shock. Her array was even more powerful than Sima Yulin's. What kind of monster was she? No wonder he was able to work together with those alchemists, blacksmiths, and beast tamers. I heard that you have a few friends by your side. They are all alchemists, artifact refiners, and beast tamers. Are they still with you? Hua Zhengxing asked with a smile. Sima Yuyu was stunned. 2 years ago, they had humiliated Miss Hua in the Xianyuan pavilion. Was this old man going to settle accounts with them? Seeing her uncertain expression, Hua Zhengxing laughed and said, We just want to see what the young geniuses group is like. We don't have any other intentions. Sima Yuyu stared at Hua Zhengxing and felt that he didn't seem like the kind of person who would bully the weak. She nodded her head and looked behind her, saying, Ziqi, Beigong, Fatty, come and meet Grandpa Hua. Wei Ziqi and the other two walked over, saying, Greetings, Grandpa Hua. You are all talented and talented. Hua Zhengxing praised. Why is there one person missing? Ouying hasn't come yet. Sima Yuyu replied. He left you to come here? Someone from the Hua clan asked. No, he is still in the South Eclipse Kingdom to settle some things. Sima Yuyu said. On the way here, we found out about the changes in the South Eclipse Kingdom. The royal family happens to be surnamed Ouyang. Could it be that your friend is the former crown prince who returned? Hua Zhengxing asked. Sima Yuyu muttered. Why are you still asking when you already know? However, she still replied respectfully, That's right. As she spoke, she glanced at Sima Yuyu. The latter immediately understood what she meant and said, Grandpa Hua, we are planning to rush to Saint City. Do you want to come? Okay, we are planning to go there as well. Why don't we go together? Hua Zhengxing said. The reason they came over was to go to the holy city with them, because the latter part of the journey was a bit longer than the previous one, and it was also a bit more dangerous. The Hua clan and the Sima clan could be considered old friends, so they planned to bring them along. The Hua clan took out their divine flying beast, and the Sima clan followed along. They set off in the morning, and only reached Saint City in the evening. When they reached Saint City, the Hua clan and the Sima clan separated and went to their own houses. Saint City did not allow flying, so everyone called out their contracted beasts and ran for half an hour before they reached the Sima clan's house. Young masters and young misses, you are finally here. The steward of the Sima clan's house saw Sima Yuyu and the others and bowed. I heard that you have been outside Dragon Reflection Town for the past few days. Did anything happen? Uncle Run, we are fine. This was the steward that the Sima clan had transferred over. Sima Yuyu and the others knew him before. The houses have already been tidied up. Everyone can rest first. Tomorrow we can walk around the city. Master and the others will be here in 2 days. Sima Run said. Okay, sorry to trouble Uncle Run. Sima Yuyu said. After that, he said to the disciples of the Sima clan. Everyone can rest tonight. If you want to go out tomorrow, you can walk around together. Uncle Ren, why can't people who are not 20 years old enter Saint City? A disciple of the Sima clan asked. It was because of this reason that they had never been here before. As for those who were in their 20s, they had never had the time or opportunity to come here. This is a rule that has been passed down since long ago. We don't know the reason either. Uncle Run said as he led the way. If those who are not 20 years old can't come in, then what about those who grew up here? Sima Yuyu asked curiously. We don't know either. Uncle Run said with a smile. Could it be that age discrimination exists? Fatty Chu sighed. After resting in the Sima clan for a night, everyone went out together on the second day. Even Sima Yuming and the 4 brothers came early in the morning to look for Sima Yuyu and brought her out with Fatty Chu and the others. Saint City looked similar to other cities. It was divided into East, West, North, South and Central districts. The Central district was a business district, while the other 4 districts were living areas. There were various clans that had developed in the past. Only the Alchemist Guild, the Armament Master Guild and the Sage Pavilion could be stationed in the central district. This place is so big. Sima Yu and the others sat on the beast carriage that Sima Ren had prepared. They were heading towards the central district. I heard that there are many treasures that can be traded in Saint City. Many people get spirit treasures from 10,000 Beast Mountain, or they get things that can't be seen in the world outside. They all come here to trade. Sima Yuran told them what he had heard. Ah, why? Fatty Chu's eyes widened. Then isn't this a paradise for robbers? They take things from outside and sell them here? Chapter 300. Sima Yue was rather curious about this as well, so she stared at Sima Yuran, waiting for him to explain it to everyone. Sima Yuran smiled, saying, "Because this is the headquarters of the various powers. Most people don't dare to do things like killing and robbing here. As for those who came in to trade, they would be protected by this place. Even if those people wanted to do anything to him, they wouldn't be able to. In other words, the grudges of the outside world cannot be brought in here. Even if this person stole from others and was hunted down by others, as long as he entered this place, he is not allowed to kill. Once that robber sells the items here, those people won't rob him anymore." Fatty Chu said. "You can understand it that way." Sima Yuran nodded. "Then wouldn't there be a lot of treasures here?" Fatty Chu's eyes lit up. Some people had treasures in their possession, but they didn't dare to reveal it outside. Because if they were coveted by others, not only would they not be able to keep their treasures, they would also lose their lives. However, things were different here. As long as he disguised himself, he could easily get rid of the treasures in his hands. There are many treasures, but there are also some people who see that everyone is in the mood and take out inferior or fake goods to pretend to be superior or genuine goods. Sima Yuran said. "Nobody cares about this?" Wei Ziqi asked. "After entering, all transactions are voluntary. If you buy a fake or something, you can only blame yourself for not being observant enough and not being able to see the essence of the goods." When they heard what Sima Yuran said, everyone was speechless. Wasn't this creating this kind of atmosphere? Their beast carriages ran for an hour before they reached the central area. When they arrived, the streets were densely packed with beast carriages. Fortunately, the roads here were spacious. A single street could allow 20 beast carriages to travel at the same time. Otherwise, this place would have been jammed. Due to Sima Yoyue's request, the coachman brought them to the nearest market. Then he waited outside while the others went in. Standing at the entrance of the market, Sima Yue and the rest were surprised to see so many people entering and exiting the market. "This is the free trade market? It's no different from those shops," Sima Yue said. The door looked like an ordinary loft, and the outside was similar to other shops. Just as they were about to enter, they saw Sima Yue and the rest standing at the door. She said, "Are you all new to the sacred city?" Sima Yue and the rest turned their heads to look at the 2 middle-aged men. From their bloody aura, they could tell that they were people who often went through life and death situations. "This is indeed the first time we've come to Saint City. We heard about this free market, so we wanted to take a look," Sima Yuran said with a smile. "As expected, it's your first time here. The 2 of us want to go in as well. You can come with us to take a look," the fair middle-aged man said. "Thank you, uncle." Sima Yue and the rest followed the 2 of them into the shop. As soon as they entered, they noticed the difference between this shop and the other shops. Most shops would place their goods neatly on the shelves, but here, rows of people were sitting on the ground. They casually pulled a piece of cloth and placed it on the ground. Then there were scattered items on it. Some of them had the items that they wanted to exchange for written on it. There are a total of 4 floors here. Each time, it can accommodate thousands of people setting up stalls here. The higher you go, the more valuable the items are. The fair-skinned middle-aged man explained. "Since it's your first time here, you can start walking slowly from the first floor. We want to go upstairs, so we won't be going with you." "Okay, thank you, uncle." The two middle-aged men obviously came to this place often. They knew that the items they needed or wanted to sell were of high quality, so they went upstairs directly. Let's walk around as well, Sima Yuming said. The group of them walked around the first floor. Sima Yue saw quite a few medicinal ingredients, but they weren't very valuable. There were also a few pills and spirit tools, but they were of average quality and didn't catch their eye. They quickly finished walking around the first floor because they didn't see anything good. They just walked around. Very quickly, they went to the second floor. Just like what the two middle-aged men said, the items here were more valuable than the ones below. However, they still didn't catch their eye. They finished walking around the second floor very quickly and went to the third floor. The items here were of higher quality. Occasionally, they would stop in their tracks. However, they didn't buy much. Only Fatty Chu chose a few materials for refining tools. On the fourth floor, they met the two middle-aged men. When they saw that they had come up so quickly, they said with some surprise, "You finished walking around the lower 3 floors so quickly? The items below are very average, so we walked around rather quickly." Sima Yuran said with a smile. When the two of them heard this, they immediately understood. They were definitely not average people. The things they usually came in contact with were not ordinary. That was why they didn't care about the things below. This is just a small market. If you want to find good things, you can go to a bigger one, the fair-skinned middle-aged man said. Are the other markets better than this one? Sima Yulu asked. Of course. The market is also divided into grades. First, second, and third. This is the third grade, the lowest grade. The things here definitely can't compare to those in other markets. The middle-aged man explained patiently. Then which markets are of a higher grade? Sima Yuming asked. The closer to the center, the higher the grade. There are 3 first-grade markets. They are under the Alchemist Guild, Armament Master Guild and Beast Tamer Guild. If you're interested, you can go there to take a look. Okay, thank you for your guidance, uncle. After that, Sima Yu and the others walked around the 4th floor. They saw quite a few high-grade herbs, but there were still many of them in the Spirit Pagoda, so they didn't make a move. What Sima Yu found interesting was that when they were about to leave, they saw a stalk of scarlet rhinoceros grass. This kind of medicinal ingredient was usually green, but after 200 years, it would turn scarlet red. At this time, the medicinal properties would undergo an earth-shattering change. A young man was squatting in front of the stall, haggling with the peddler about the price of this herb. 3,000 gold coins. Otherwise, no further discussion. The peddler's attitude was firm. That young man seemed to really need this herb, but he didn't bring that much money when he came out. His face was red as he begged the peddler to lower the price. Boss, if you lower the price a bit, I'll buy it for you. 3,000 gold coins, no less. The peddler said, Look, this is a red rhinoceros grass. Do you need me to tell you how much it's worth? If you don't want it, there will naturally be others who want it. I didn't bring enough money, but I really need this rhinoceros grass. Help me keep it for a while. I'll go back and get the money. I'll be back soon. That won't do. If I meet someone who wants it and gives a high price, I'll sell it. The peddler said. Then what should I do? The young man was about to cry. How about this? If you can give me 3,500 gold coins, I'll keep it for you. The young man gritted his teeth saying, Okay. At this time a white slender hand stretched out and picked up the rhinoceros grass. Chapter 301. Sima Yue squatted on the ground and picked up the rhinoceros grass. She looked at the boss and asked, How much is this rhinoceros grass? When the peddler saw Sima Yue's clothes and aura, he could tell that she was rich. 3,500 gold coins. The peddler said with a smile. The young man beside him became anxious and said, Didn't you just agree to sell it to me for 3,000 gold coins? But you don't have the money, and you said that I would only keep it for you if the price is above 3,500. Now that this young master wants it, I can only sell it to him for 3,500. The peddler said confidently. Sima Yue smiled and said, Your rhinoceros grass is worth at most 800 gold coins. Young master, please don't speak nonsense. 800 gold coins can only buy ordinary rhinoceros grass. Mine is crimson red and is over 200 years old. The peddler hurriedly explained. Yeah, this is just an ordinary rhinoceros grass. It's only worth 800 gold coins. Sima Yue said with certainty. Nonsense. Can't you see its color? The peddler roared, raising his voice to hide his guilt. You dyed this color, Sima Yue said. Don't slander me. Does my rhinoceros grass look like it was dyed red? Look at the rhizome. The leaves are all red. Will it be dyed like this? The peddler pinched off a leaf. Indeed, even the insides were red. I don't know how you dyed the leaves red, but I think there's something you don't know. Rhinoceros grass that is more than 200 years old will have a red line on its leaves, but you don't have it. Sima Yue pointed at the leaves. What thin thread? You haven't seen it before, so how would you know? The peddler said. How do you know that I haven't seen it before? Sima Yue asked with a smile. The peddler saw the smile on her face and felt a little scared. This guy couldn't have really seen the red rhinoceros grass, right? Does the scarlet rhinoceros grass really have that red line? The young man asked. Yes. Sima Yue said. Seeing that the other party still refused to admit it, she said, Seems like you won't give up until you see the coffin. She directly cut off the rhinoceros grass's stem, and there was still a bit of emerald green at the roots. My rhinoceros grass. The vendor did not expect Sima Yue to do that, but it was too late to stop her. Sima Yue threw the grass in her hand to the ground, stood up and clapped her hands, saying, No matter what you do, the roots won't turn completely red. This. The peddler's face turned ugly. How dare you lie to me? The young man angrily rebuked. Fortunately, I haven't bought your rhinoceros grass, otherwise, I would have been killed by you. Listen to me. The peddler explained. Flyer, don't buy from him anymore. The young man shouted and turned around to look for Sima Yue, but she had already left. After Sima Yue exposed the truth, she turned around and left with everyone. Just as she stepped out of the door, someone called out to her. Brother, please wait. Sima Yue recognized the man's voice and stopped to ask, Is there anything I can help you with? The man walked in front of Sima Yue and bowed to her, saying, Thank you, brother, otherwise I would have bought a fake red rhinoceros grass. You're welcome, I'm just not used to seeing fake things. Sima Yue said. No matter what, I still have to thank you. The man said, May I ask if you've seen red rhinoceros grass before? Yes. Sima Yue said. There were many in the spirit pagoda. May I know if you have it? Yes. Hearing Sima Yue's words, the man's eyes lit up and said excitedly, I urgently need a stalk of red rhinoceros grass. May I know if you can sell it to me? I'm willing to buy it at a high price. Someone in your family is injured? Sima Yue asked. Yes, a month ago my brother's arm was burned by Li Mu and he needs this rhinoceros grass to heal his injury. The man said. Li Mu? The one from the Alchemist Guild? Sima Yue asked. Yes, that's him. The man said, My name is Lu Yuan and my brother is Lu Ming. My brother is from the Alchemist Guild, and because he went against Li Mu, he was burned by him. He has been looking for red rhinoceros grass for a long time to heal his injury. Can't burns be cured with healing elixirs? Why is it still not healed after so long? Sima Yue had never encountered such a situation. Because Li Mu's flame is not an ordinary flame. Ordinary healing elixirs are useless. Lu Yuan's face was full of anger. Sima Yue remembered that she had mentioned before that it was not easy to heal burns from other flames. She was suddenly interested. Although this 200-year-old rhinoceros grass is rare, it's not impossible to find. Why haven't you found it yet? Sima Yue asked. Yes, those big medicine shops do have it. However, that Li Mu's position in Saint City is very high. He said that no one can buy rhinoceros grass from us. Otherwise, we would be going against him. That's why we can't buy rhinoceros grass from the medicine shops. We can only come to this kind of free market to try our luck. Today we finally found it, but we didn't expect it to be fake. Why don't you go to the big markets? Sima Yue asked. Those big markets are all opened by the various guilds. Lu Yuan's words were full of bitterness. Because they were opened by the various guilds, they had to give face to Li Mu. That's why even if they had it, they wouldn't sell it to him. Li Mu is just a fourth-ranked alchemist. How can he have so much face that all the guilds are willing to help him? Fatty Chu asked. Although he's just a fourth-ranked alchemist, he has a close relationship with Vice President Qian. He also has relatives who are elders. Furthermore, his talent is very good. He's deeply appreciated by the other guilds. Naturally, no one wants to offend an alchemist with such potential. Lu Yuan said helplessly. I'm quite interested in your brother's injury. Can I go take a look? Sima Yue asked. Our family situation is very bad right now. It's better if you don't get involved with our family at this time. If others see you with us, it might bring you danger. Lu Yuan tactfully declined. It's okay. In any case, we're already enemies with that Li Mu. As the saying goes, the enemy of an enemy is a friend. Let's go take a look at our friend. Let's go. Lead the way. Sima Yue didn't take Li Mu seriously at all. Lu Yuan saw Sima Yue's insistence and agreed to bring them to his house. Sima Yue didn't think that the Lu family was actually in the central district. She was even more curious about their family. One had to know that even the first-ranked powers couldn't live in the central district. But a normal family could live here. This meant that they had the right to live here. At that time, they must have been a very prosperous family. Their status surpassed the first-ranked powers. Chapter 302. But when they stood in front of a dilapidated courtyard, they couldn't connect this once glorious family together. It was just a very small courtyard, like one of the courtyards in the Sima family's mansion. There wasn't even a door plate of the mansion. Lu Yuan saw the surprise in Sima Yue and the others' eyes and felt a little helpless. However, he still said politely, "Everyone, this is my home. Please." They walked in, and a 16 or 17-year-old girl who looked a lot like Lu Yuan came out of the house. When she saw Lu Yuan coming back with 8 strangers, she said in surprise, "Brother, who are they?" "This is my twin sister, Lu Yuan." Then he looked at the quiet courtyard and asked, "Sister, this is a friend I met outside. They came to see second brother. Where's big brother?" Lu Yuan's face fell as she said, "Big brother saw that we couldn't find the 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. After you left this morning, he said that he wanted to go outside the city to take a look." Lu Yuan panicked when he heard that and said, "Is big brother really going there? How can this be?" "What's wrong?" Fatty Chu asked when he saw how anxious Lu Yuan was. "When Big Brother and I went to the mountains in the past, we came across a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass, but it was near the lair of a 5th-level divine beast. If we were not careful, we would alert the divine beast. At that time, not to mention digging for the rhinoceros grass, Big Brother's life would be in danger," Lu Yuan explained. Lu Yuan was shocked when she heard that. She covered her mouth with both hands and tears were about to fall from her eyes. She looked at Lu Yuan and asked, "Brother, what should we do? Will something really happen to Big Brother? You haven't been out for long, so he shouldn't have gone far. You can stop him now," Sima Yue said. "It's too late. Big Brother has 2 contracted beasts. They're both extremely fast spirit beasts. I've been out for the entire morning. He's probably already out of the holy city by now. When he was outside, he had a flying beast. By the time we caught up, he might already be in the mountains," Lu Yuan said anxiously. "I don't care anymore. I have to find Big Brother no matter what. Second brother is already injured. We can't let Big Brother get injured as well." Cough, cough. At this moment, the door to one of the bedrooms opened and a pale-faced man walked out. His hand was still wrapped in bandages. It was the second son of the Lu family, Lu Ming. "Third brother, go and stop Big Brother immediately. You must bring him back safely." Lu Ming held the door with his left hand and looked at Lu Yuan. "Second brother, your body is so weak. Why did you come out?" Lu Yuan went up to support Lu Ming. "I'm fine. Third brother, go quickly," Lu Ming shouted anxiously. "I'll go now." Lu Yuan replied. Then he said to Sima Yue and the others, I'm really sorry. There are divine beasts that are as powerful as spirit paragons. If your brother goes there and you go there alone, you might be in danger. Sima Yue said, even if it is, I still want to go. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, I will bring big brother back. Lu Yuan said firmly, how about this, eldest brother, you guys go with him. Sima Yu said to Sima Yu Ming and the others. All right. Sima Yu Ming and the others sympathized with these brothers. If they let him go alone, these two brothers might really lose their lives in the mountain. No need, it's so dangerous there. Lu Yuan had not even finished his words when he was interrupted. Sima Yu Lu went up and hugged him saying, if you don't go now, it might really be too late. Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi also followed, leaving behind Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang. I wonder how I should address the two of you, Lu Ming asked as he walked over with Lu Yuan's support. Sima Yue. Bei Gongtang. Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue and asked, you're from the Sima family? That's right, Sima Yue said. What have you guys come here for today? Lu Ming's expression was ugly as he said, I've already said that our family's inheritance has long been broken. Even if you came, you wouldn't be able to find anything. Or do you want to be like those people and come here to move things? Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang were stunned, saying, what move things? Aren't you here to move things? Lu Yuan looked at the two of them and asked. No, we met Lu Yuan in the free market. We saw that he wanted to buy a stalk of rhinoceros grass that was not old enough, so we reminded him. Sima Yue said. After that, he asked me for a stalk of rhinoceros grass. I happened to be interested in your sadness, so I wanted to come and take a look. Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue from head to toe, saying, oh right, the Sima family doesn't have you guys in the younger generation here. You guys just came to Saint City, right? Sima Yue didn't expect Lu Ming to guess it so quickly and nodded, saying, that's right, we just came yesterday. We've never been here before. Then you'd better leave quickly. The Sima family already has a tense relationship with the Alchemist Guild. If you get involved with us, I'm afraid it will affect your relationship. Lu Ming said. Are you talking about the matter between you and Li Mu? Sima Yue wasn't nervous at all. She looked at the dilapidated courtyard. It was really simple, and there were many traces of things being moved. It seemed that a lot of things had been moved recently. You know Li Mu? Lu Ming was a little surprised, but then he said with understanding, that's right, third brother should have told you about us. No, we knew each other at Dragon Reflection Mountain. We beat up the geniuses of the Alchemist Guild, so our relationship isn't very good now. Sima Yue said, aren't you going to invite us in to have a seat? Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue with some surprise and said, please, the two of you. They came to the so-called living room, where there were only a few stools left. The things have been moved away, so you guys have to make do with it. Fourth sister, make a cup of tea for the two guests. Lu Ming saw that Sima Yue and the others didn't put on any airs, so they shouldn't mind this. Lu Yuan stood where she was, her face a little red. She said in a low voice, second brother, there's no more tea at home. Lu Ming was stunned, and then he felt a little sad, but he still smiled and said, I'm really sorry. In order to treat my injuries, Big Brother and the others have already left the house bare. It's okay. We didn't come here to drink your tea. It's the same if you give us 2 cups of water, Sima Yue said. Actually, she didn't want to drink water, but in order to ease their awkwardness, she said it. Okay, wait a moment. Lu Yuan said and left. Sima Yue looked at Lu Ming's right hand and said, I heard that Li Mu's flame is not an ordinary flame. How can a burn heal for a month? Yes. Lu Yuan nodded. Every time I take a pill, my arm will heal for a while, but it will soon become like this again. Then can I see your arm? Sima Yue asked. Chapter 303. Lu Ming was silent for 2 seconds before saying, This arm is a little scary right now. Let's forget about it. Read the latest chapter, first edition, volume 1. I'm a doctor, maybe I can cure your injury. Sima Yue said. Lu Ming shook his head and said, you can't cure it. Wherever Li Mu's flames burned, they would leave behind fire elements that could neither be expelled nor extinguished. This kind of fire element can only be sucked out by its owner, and can only be cured with rhinoceros grass that is over 200 years old. The fire element will stay in your body? It was Sima Yue's first time hearing this. Yes. The amount of pills I've taken this month is enough for a normal burn victim to be reborn. However, in this case, the newly grown flesh will be burned away by the fire element in the body in less than an hour, Lu Ming explained. At this time, Lu Yin came in with 2 cups of water and said, although this 200-year-old rhinoceros grass is rare, it's not impossible to find. But that Li Mu actually forbade the people of Sheng City from selling it to us, causing Big Brother and Third Brother to have to go into the mountains to look for it. How despicable. Now that things have come to this, I'll just cut off one of my arms, as long as they can come back alive. Lu Ming said. How can that be? Lu Yuan said. Your talent in alchemy is so good. If you cut off one of your arms, how are you going to refine pills in the future? I already feel bad for dragging the 3 of you down. Now that Big Brother is in danger, as long as our family is safe, I can survive even if I only have one arm. No matter what price we have to pay, we will cure you. Don't forget, you still have to shoulder the heavy responsibility of reviving the Lu family. Lu Yuan was very determined at this time. Cough cough. Although Sima Yue was touched by their sibling relationship, she could not ignore their presence at this time. Only then did Lu Ming and Lu Yuan remember that they were still there. They smiled apologetically at them. I promise Lu Yuan that if you let me take a look at your injuries, I'll provide you with a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. Sima Yue said as she took out a rhinoceros grass. Rhinoceros grass. The Lu siblings exclaimed when they saw the herb in Sima Yue's hand. Can I take a look at your injuries now? Sima Yue looked at Lu Ming and asked. All right. This time he agreed. Because even if he didn't show it to her now, he would still open it later when he had to treat his injuries. Lu Yuan bent down and removed the bandage on Lu Ming's hand. A forearm that was charred black from the fire appeared in front of everyone. It was a good thing that Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang had strong hearts, so although they were shocked by this injury, they were not scared silly. Sima Yue walked over to check and said, there are indeed remnants of fire elements. But it's better than I expected. That's because although Li Mu's fire isn't an ordinary fire, its level isn't very high. It's not one of those outstanding deviant flames. Lu Ming said. Lu Yuan looked at Sima Yue's serious look and asked, young Master Sima, do you have a way to save my second brother? This fire element isn't very high. Otherwise this rhinoceros grass would be useless. Sima Yue said. Your brother's injury isn't too big of a problem. It'll heal in a while. It'll heal in a while? Xia Yuan grabbed onto Sima Yue's clothes excitedly. Really? Sima Yue nodded and split the rhinoceros grass into 2. She gave the roots to Bei Gongtang and asked her to refine a pill. Then, she asked Lu Yuan to fetch a basin of water. After that, she released a flame and directly refined the remaining rhinoceros grass into its essence. When it was almost done, she retracted the flame and the essence fell into the basin of water. She reached her hand into the basin and stirred it a few times, saying, put the injured area into the water. Lu Ming nodded and walked over to place his hand into the basin. The burning pain in his arm felt a cooling sensation, making him feel incomparably comfortable. Activate the spiritual energy in your body and absorb the essence in the water, Sima Yue said from the side. Actually, Lu Ming knew what to do even without her reminder. Very quickly, the basin of water became clear again. Second brother, how is it? Lu Yuan stared at him and asked. Lu Ming took out his hand and said, I can't feel the burning anymore. He felt his arm and said happily, the fire element is almost gone. There's only a few left attached to my bones and meridians, but it's very little. At this time, Bei Gongtang had also finished refining the pill and let Lu Ming take it. After a while, Lu Ming said, The fire element has been completely cleared. Really? That's great. Lu Yuan was so excited that she almost jumped up. Sima Yue gave him another pill and let him take it. Very quickly, the charred flesh on Lu Ming's arm fell off, and new flesh grew continuously. This pill is even more effective than the one second brother took before, Lu Yuan said with a smile. When Sima Yue had just arrived in this world, the first time she took a third-ranked healing pill, she was able to recover quickly. Now that the pill was of a higher rank, the effects would naturally be better and faster. The fire element on my arm is gone, so the effects of the pill are better now, Lu Ming said. Lu Yuan stared at Lu Ming's arm. Previously, his arm would grow some new flesh, but it would be burnt to a crisp again. However, Lu Ming had no choice but to do so, or else the fire element would burn his bones and meridians. Seeing their own brother endure this kind of torture again and again, the Lu siblings were heartbroken. Lu Ming knew his sister's thoughts and used his other hand to pat her head, smiling and saying, "Don't worry, it won't happen this time." Lu Yuan nodded, her eyes filled with tears. Lu Ming's spirit was completely different from when they first met. It was as if he had come back to life. He bowed to Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang saying, "Thank you for your help. However, we don't have anything to repay you anymore. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't like that Li Mu, so helping you is nothing." Sima Yue waved her hand carelessly. "Furthermore, I said that I would give you the rhinoceros grass if you let me take a look at your injuries, so you don't have to feel anything." "Then I still have to thank you," Lu Ming said. "Why are you able to stay in the central district?" Sima Yue asked, successfully changing the topic. Lu Ming sighed, saying, "Although our Lu family has always been few in number, we are still considered an alchemy family. Our great-grandfather was once the great elder of the Alchemist Guild. Because of his profound attainments in alchemy, we were allowed to stay in the central district. However, our family was framed by the Li family, and our great-grandfather died in an accident while refining pills. The other great-uncles also met with misfortune. Until now, only the four of us are left." Chapter 304. Lu Ming's words were simple, but Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang could see prosperity and decline from his words. "Is the Li clan Li Mu's clan?" Bei Gong Tang asked. "Yes." Lu Ming said, "The Li family is a large family in the northern Yan kingdom, and is also an alchemy family. My great-grandfather was once at odds with the Li family. After he passed away, the Li family has been targeting us. So it's not a coincidence that Li Mu injured you this time," Sima Yue said while stroking her chin. "Yes, because my talent is not bad. I entered the Alchemist Guild. But after I entered, I was constantly suppressed by Li Mu and was even injured by him." When Lu Ming mentioned Li Mu, anger flashed across his face. "By the way, isn't this your first time in Xing City? Why are you at odds with Li Mu? When we were at Dragon Reflection Mountain, he brought people to cause trouble for us. I gave him a good beating." Sima Yue said, "No, I beat up his follower Wu Feng so badly that even his mother couldn't recognize him. Then I beat him in alchemy." "You defeated Li Mu?" Lu Ming exclaimed. "Yeah, it's a piece of cake," Sima Yue said. Lu Ming and his sister looked at her as if she was a monster. They grew up in Xing City and naturally knew Li Mu's strength. She actually defeated him so easily. How powerful was she? "I saw that there were many traces of movement outside. What's going on?" Bei Gong Tang asked. "It's all because of those bad people. They wanted us to hand over our family's secret alchemy technique. We couldn't take it out, so they said that we hid it in these things. They took away all of our fake mountains and furniture. Other than these few stools, everything else was taken away," Lu Yun said hatefully. "Who are those people?" Sima Yue and Bei Gong Tang were speechless. No wonder there was nothing here. Who else could it be? It's Li Mu's henchmen. Lu Ming clenched his fists. "One day, I will trample them all under my feet. Let's return all the humiliation they gave us." Aren't those people afraid of Big Brother? Every time Big Brother goes out to find medicinal ingredients for second brother, They would come and snatch our things, wanting to drive us out of Sacred City. Xia Yuan said. But why haven't they come back yet? Could something have happened? Don't worry, they'll be fine, Sima Yue said confidently. Sima Yulu and the others contracted beasts were very fast as well. They should be able to stop him. Bang! The Lu family's main door was suddenly kicked open. A few ruffians came in from outside and said, Lu family, have you thought it through? Are you going to hand over the secret technique or not? Those people are here again. Lu Yin stomped her feet and ran out. When she saw them, she scolded. You guys are here again. What are you doing here? You've already robbed everything from our house. We didn't get anything from you, so of course we have to come. You guys are despicable. Say it, are you going to hand it over or not? The leader asked. I've already told you a few hundred times. We don't have it. If you want to find trouble, we'll keep you company, Lu Yin said domineeringly. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Since you're not willing to hand it over, we'll continue to move things back to study it. We don't have anything left for you to move. Is that so? The leader looked around and realized that there was nothing left in the courtyard. Finally, his gaze landed on the house saying, Come tear down the house and bring it back. Who dares? Lu Ming came out from the house and glared at them. The few of them saw that the injury on Lu Ming's hand had already healed and were surprised. However, they smiled. I didn't think that your hand would actually heal. Looks like you found a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. However, Lu Ming, even if you've healed, you're not our opponent. I advise you to quickly hand over the secret technique and get out of Sacred City. If you do, we can spare your life. What if I don't hand it over? Lu Ming said coldly. If you don't hand it over, we'll tear down your house today. After that, we'll cripple you and throw you out. Such arrogance. Sima Yue snorted coldly. She and Bei Gongtang walked out and were seen by the leader. His eyes immediately widened and his saliva flowed out. It's fine if you don't hand it over today. Give that woman to us and we'll go back. We'll give you a few days to consider. Don't even think about it. Lu Ming scolded. You've got guts, daring to have ideas about your great-aunt. Bei Gongtang snorted coldly. Beauty, it's better for you to come with us. You'll only be able to stay in Sacred City if you come with us. The man looked at Bei Gongtang lecherously. You want me to go with you? Bei Gongtang's cold gaze was as if she was looking at a few dead people saying, I'm afraid that if I dare to go with you, you won't be able to live with me. Sima Yue walked over and hugged Bei Gongtang's waist, saying, I hate it the most when people covet my woman. Do you think I should gouge out your eyeballs or cripple you and throw you out? Ha ha ha, such arrogance. In Sacred City, not many people dare to say such things. The man laughed loudly. The lackeys behind him also laughed. Is that so? Then you'll hear it today. Sima Yue said. It doesn't matter if you're here to rob the Lu family or to take my woman away. It's best that you leave before I get angry. The man was stunned by Sima Yue's aura. However, he was still a local. Thinking about his own background, he calmed down and said, Brat, I'm Li Mu's subordinate. If you dare to make a move against us, are you trying to go against Li Mu? Sima Yue looked at the sky and said, Since you don't cherish the chance I gave you, then I'll grant you your wish. After she finished speaking, she moved. Before anyone could react, she was already in front of them. She lifted her leg and kicked those people. Pung, pung, pung. Those people were all kicked to the ground. Each of them held their stomachs and cried out in pain. Sima Yue walked over and stepped on the leader's stomach, saying, I hate two things now. The first is when people have ideas about me and the people around me. The second is when people say that they're Li Mu's men in front of me. Do you understand? Brat, if you have the ability, tell me your name. If you dare to not put Li Mu in your eyes, you won't be able to stay in Sacred City anymore. That person said with a grimace. Is that so? Then go back and tell Li Mu that I, Sima Yue, am here. Hurry up and call me boss. Scram. After she finished speaking, she kicked all of them out. Brat, just you wait. Those people shouted and ran away. Junior brother, you're really rude. A gentle voice came from the roof. Chapter 305. Sima Yue clapped her hands and looked at the person on the rooftop. Why are you here? I was passing by and happened to hear your voice, so I came to see what was going on. Otherwise, when I see Master saying that you were bullied, I, as your senior brother, won't stand up for you. Wu Lingyu came down from the roof and said with a smile. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. She did not believe him. Who is this? Lu Ming asked when he saw Wu Lingyu's extraordinary bearing, noble and holy. I'm his senior, Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Wu Lingyu? This name sounds familiar. Lu Yin tilted her head and thought. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was startled. With a straight face he bowed towards Wu Lingyu and said, Greetings, Your Highness the Holy Sun. No need. Wu Lingyu waved his hand. Holy Sun? I remember now. That day when third brother came back, he said that a holy sun had come up. So it was you. Lu Yin said in surprise. I never thought that we would be able to see holy sun with our own eyes. Wu Lingyu nodded at her, then looked at Sima Yue and asked, Junior, why are you here? Sima Yue told him what had happened, which made Wu Lingyu frown. Your Highness Holy Sun, young Master Sima, young Mistress Beigong, let's go inside. Lu Ming said, embarrassed to let them stand in the courtyard. They did not expect Sima Yue to be Wu Lingyu's junior. Since she had such a strong background, they were not worried that she would be harmed by Li Mu. Wait, someone's coming. Go in after you're done. Sima Yue replied. Before the siblings could react, a group of people kicked the door open and barged in. Who is Sima Yue? Come here and die. The person shouted as soon as he entered. Seeing the people in the courtyard, he asked, Which one of you is Sima Yue? You've called for reinforcements so quickly. Sima Yue looked at the people behind them. You dare to bring people here to cause trouble? Looks like I didn't beat you up to your heart's content. The leader of the group looked at Sima Yue and said, Don't be smug. Now that my big and big are here, they'll kill you. As soon as they ran out of here, they saw their boss after 2 streets. They told him about how they were beaten up, and their boss immediately rushed over with his men. Come Sima Yue. You. I'll take you down first. The leader condensed his spiritual energy as he spoke. He was a spiritual grandmaster. Sima Yue moved and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye, kicking him out as well. Bang! Yue. You. Everyone was dumbfounded. Their big boss couldn't even take one hit from her. Sima Yue didn't look at their big boss. She chopped, slashed, kicked, and stomped. More than a dozen people were all taken down by her within a minute. She clapped her hands and looked down at them condescendingly. I told you you're not strong enough to kill me. Who's causing trouble in my house? A rough roar came from outside the door. Then a figure rushed in. Big brother. Lu Yuan shouted happily when she saw the person who came in. Second brother, fourth sister, are you okay? Luffy saw the people in the courtyard and knew that they were here to cause trouble again. These people always came to cause trouble when he wasn't around. By the time he came back, his younger siblings were already being bullied. Big brother, we're fine. Didn't you meet third brother and the others? Lu Yuan asked. I did, Luffy said. If he hadn't met them, he might not have been able to walk out of 10,000 Beast Mountain. Just as he finished speaking, Lu Yuan also ran in. Seeing the figures on the ground, he said in surprise, Second brother, are you okay? We're fine. Lu Ming shook his head. These people are here again. Lu Yuan kicked the people on the ground twice. Then Sima Yue and the others came in from outside. When they saw the people in the courtyard, they frowned. Second brother, your hand is better. Lu Yuan saw that Lu Ming's hand was no longer black and ran over happily. Yes. It's already healed. Lu Ming smiled. He thought that he would have to break his own arm. He didn't expect that it would be better. This made him very happy. What do we do with these people? Luffy kicked the person beside him and asked. Cripple them and throw them out. Sima Yu said. You dare. The leader shouted. We're Li Mu's men. You dare to touch us? Are you looking to die? They're all Li Mu's dogs indeed. Sima Yu sneered. I said it just now. I hate it when people tell me that they're Li Mu's dogs. I can't touch the people from the Alchemist Guild, but can't I touch you? They usually bully the weak and outsiders in Saint City. They've done a lot of bad things. Cripple them and stop them from doing bad things. Lu Yuan said. I think so too. I've wanted to do this for a long time. Luffy walked over and said. Aren't you Li Mu's dogs? I want to see how good your master will treat you. After speaking, he stepped on their abdomens and crippled them. Third brother, come throw them out. Yes, big brother. The two brothers threw all the people out and closed the door with a bang. Those people were all lying on the ground. They couldn't believe that they were crippled. More and more people came to watch. When they saw the people lying on the ground, they were all shocked. How could it be them? Aren't they Li Mu's men? Heavens, they even dare to touch Li Mu's men. The Lu brothers are really overturning the heavens. Hee, if I were them, I would have overturned the heavens. Look at how they've been bullied all these years. That's true. This house is going to be emptied by them. What can they do? The elders in the family have all passed away. Now there are only 4 children left. How can they fight against the Li family? Sigh, these are the matters of the previous generations. Now these children have to bear the consequences. Now that they've crippled Li Mu's men, I'm afraid they'll take revenge on them. Sigh, what a bunch of pitiful children. Let's disperse. If anyone sees us here, we might even be implicated. The crowd left. No one went up to help the people on the ground. It was as if they didn't see anything. They had no choice but to call out their contracted beasts and let them carry them back. When Li Mu received the news that his men had been crippled, he was just coming out of the Li family's courtyard. At that time, his face was terrifyingly gloomy. They even dared to cripple his men. How bold. Who did you say was with them? His aura was terrifyingly low. The servant who came to report was so scared that his legs turned to jelly. He stammered. It's Sima Yu. She even sent someone to tell you to go over and call her boss. Chapter 306. The people behind Li Mu couldn't help but gasp when they heard the manservant's words. Who was this Sima Yu? How dare she speak to Li Mu like that? After hearing Sima Yu's name, Li Mu was silent for a while, then said to the manservant, Find someone to send those people out of Wanshou Mountain. After he finished speaking, he walked towards the Alchemist Guild. The atmosphere was so tense that no one dared to approach within 3 meters of him. That's the direction of the Alchemist Guild. Someone from the Li clan said, Isn't he going to look for Sima Yu? Are we just going to let this go? The Li family didn't know what was going on. It really wasn't his style to not get back at them. Only those few people from the Alchemist Guild knew the reason. If he were to look for Sima Yu now, he would have to call her boss, not to mention get back at her. This was because he had lost the bet. Sima Yu and the rest stayed at the Lu residence for a while longer before leaving. She did not expect that Wu Lingyu would actually want to go back with her. Why are you going back with me? Sima Yu glared at Wu Lingyu. Of course it's to escort you back safely, Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Forget it, it's not safe for me to go out with you. Sima Yu refused. Look at what you're saying. You're the junior brother, and I'm the senior brother. How could it not be safe? I'm not going to do anything to you. Or do you want to do something to me? Wu Lingyu looked at her with some fear. Sima Yu was speechless. What was this guy talking about? If I go out with you, I'll definitely be in the eye of the storm. I don't like being watched like a monkey. You should hurry back on your own. Your Highness Holy Son. Sima Yu stretched forth a hand and pushed Wu Lingyu away. When the Lu family members heard the conversation between Sima Yu and Wu Lingyu, they couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. This pair of senior and junior brothers were too weird. In the end, Wu Lingyu did not leave with Sima Yu. He left before Sima Yu's face darkened. Lu Ming, Are you really not coming with us to the Sima family? Sima Yulu and the others asked the four brothers again. No matter what, this is our home. Lu Ming said. And I think Li Mu has the time to make trouble for us. As long as he doesn't come in person, we can handle it. All right, then be careful. When Sima Yue and the rest returned to the Sima family, the news of them crippling Li Mu's men had already spread to several districts. Not bad, we've just arrived and our Sima family has become famous in Saint City. Sima Yuyang teased. Sima Yue directly walked over and found a place to sit down, saying, We've gone against the Alchemist Guild this time. Do you want to get rid of me? Otherwise, I'll bring trouble to the family. Sima Yuyang rolled his eyes at her, saying, I've already asked Uncle Ren. Our relationship with the Alchemist Guild has never been good. There's no need to take this to heart. I initially wanted to run away, but now it seems like I don't have to. Sima Yue said with a smile. Sima Yuyang's eyes twitched. This guy, she was so arrogant just because he said she was fat. The Li family of the Northern Yan Kingdom has always been at odds with our family. When you go out, you have to be careful of their tricks. He warned. Got it. Sima Yue waved her hands, saying, Yuyang, I only realized today that you're a bit of a busybody. You're always nagging. It's better to be a quiet pretty boy like Yulin. This time, even Sima Yulin, who was at the side, could not remain calm. Was this guy teasing them? If there's nothing else, I'm going to rest. Sima Yue saw the way the two of them were acting and secretly laughed before leaving. On this day, everyone was talking about how Li Mu's underlings had been crippled. Everyone was curious as to why he had given up this time, and did not say anything. Later on, everyone found out about the competition at Dragon Reflection Mountain, and sighed that someone had actually defeated Li Mu. He was only 22 years old. What a strange talent. 2 days later, the Sima family came to Saint City. The moment they arrived, they heard that Sima Yue had defeated Li Mu. Each and every one of the old guys was extremely happy, feeling proud that their family had such a strange talent. It's a good thing that we didn't fall out with him. Otherwise, this strange talent wouldn't be part of the Sima family. This was what many of the Sima family members were thinking. These few days, the first and second-rate powers came to Saint City. Everyone heard about Sima Yue, and was curious about this person. These old guys were different from the young ones. They naturally knew that Li Mu was talented in alchemy. Now that he had been defeated by someone younger than him, when did the Sima family have such a treasure? Following that, Sima Yue's affairs were pulled out one by one. She came from Dongchen Kingdom, caused a ruckus in the Sima family, helped Ouyang Fei take down South Eclipse Kingdom, and defeated Li Mu at Dragon Reflection Mountain. These few days, when Sima Yue went out, she realized that she was being watched like a monkey. Everyone was pointing at her, and it made her very depressed. As such, she decided not to go out before the competition, and went into seclusion to cultivate. Originally, she thought that she would be able to leave this place peacefully. However, she didn't expect that the things that happened afterwards would make her interested in the creatures at the bottom of 10,000 Beast Mountain. On this day, Sima Yue hadn't come out of seclusion when she suddenly felt a wave of spiritual energy. She quickly stopped cultivating and opened the door to go out. Master, you're back. Sima Yue saw the little bird in Old Man Devil's arms and cried out in surprise. Chongming? What happened to him? Go back to your house first. Old Man Devil originally wanted to give the Chongming to Sima Yue. However, when he remembered that she was a girl, he carried her in himself. Even if it was a male spirit beast, he couldn't just let his disciple carry it. Okay. Sima Yue moved aside and let them in. Old Man Devil placed the Chongming on Sima Yue's bed and said, I met him below. At that time, he was already unconscious. I recognized him as your friend, so I saved him. Master, how is Chongming's injury? Sima Yue didn't know how to check on a spirit beast in beast form and asked. Old Man Devil was silent for a while and said, his injury is very serious. And, it should be said that he can't be saved. He won't be able to wake up now. Rainbow, who had rushed over after sensing Chongming's aura, heard Old Man Devil's words and immediately landed on the ground, saying, "No, nothing will happen to my husband." Sima Yue walked over and hugged Rainbow. She stroked the feathers on its back to comfort it and said, "Master, is there no way to save him?" Old Man Devil shook his head and said, "His injury is too serious. All of his internal organs have been destroyed and his life has been cut off. There's no medicine that can save him." Sima Yue's heart trembled. Was there really no way? Wah. No, I don't want my husband to die. Rainbow struggled out of Sima Yue's arms and flew over to Chongming's side, crying loudly. Sima Yue looked at Chongming, who had already lost his life, and her heart throbbed in pain. This happened too quickly and she still couldn't accept it. Chapter 307. Sister, what should we do, Wu? Kaihong threw herself onto Chongming and cried. Sima Yue was also feeling terrible. She had seen it transform and lived with it for 2 years. Now that it was injured like this, she could not believe what she was seeing. She looked at Old Man Devil and asked, "Master, is there really no way to save it?" Seeing her insistence, Old Man Devil said, "It's not that there's no way. It's just that it's too dangerous and might harm the person who saves him." "What is it?" Sima Yue asked. "Contract." Old Man Devil said. "Its body no longer has any life force, so this is the only way. But it was precisely because of this that there were risks. If it succeeds, it will be reborn. If it fails, the person who contracts with it will suffer the backlash of the contract." "This isn't a natal contract. Will it harm my life?" Sima Yue asked. "That won't happen. It's just that my strength might regress and my spiritual power might be damaged. However, it's impossible to predict the extent of the injuries." Old Man Devil said. "So you have to think carefully, sister." Kaihong looked at Sima Yue with pleading eyes. Sima Yue looked at the dying Chongming on the bed and said, "Since there's a way, we have to give it a try. Master, please stand guard for me later." Although he was supposed to protect her, he was actually supposed to save her life if she failed. "Then I'll go find a beast tamer," Old Man Devil said. "There's no need, Master." Sima Yue walked over and placed her hand on Chongming's head. She activated the art of taming beast and started taming it. She had been with Chongming for the past 2 years, and had already become friends. She had thought of the possibility that Chongming would form a contract with her. Perhaps when she left the Yilin continent, he would accompany her as a friend. She had also thought of the possibility that they would part ways. However, she had never thought that they would form a contract under such circumstances. Chongming's consciousness was already in a coma. Although he tried to resist, he was very weak. Soon, Sima Yue defeated him. During the taming process, Chongming's aura was still declining, which made her very worried about whether she could save him. "Sister." Rainbow looked at Sima Yue worriedly. He didn't want to lose Chongming and didn't want Sima Yue to get hurt. Sima Yue took a deep breath and looked at Rainbow. "Don't worry." Then she began the contract. The light of the contract still shone down. Sima Yue tried to establish a connection between the two of them, but without the other party's agreement, the contract could not be completed. "Chongming, open your mouth." Her consciousness called out in Chongming's body. "Chongming, I know you're still here. Answer me. Chongming, you still have things you want to do. I know you still want to go up there. You still have things you can't let go of up there." "Do you really want to go up here? Chongming, Kaihong is still young and needs protection. Didn't you promise her father to take care of her? If you leave like this, what will happen to her? Listen, Kaihong is crying so sadly. She's calling for you. Chongming, we've all gotten used to having you around for the past 2 years. I'm still waiting for you to bring me to wipe out those scums. Chongming, come back. We all need you." Sima Yue transmitted her thoughts to Chongming's mind, stimulating his silent consciousness. Ugh, the contract had lasted for too long. The power of the contract had begun to backfire and hurt her body. Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. But she was still holding on. Old Man Devil was surprised when he saw that Sima Yue was a beast tamer, but it was quickly replaced by worry. Now that he saw her hands, he wanted to ask her to stop, but his words were stuck in his throat because of the determination on her face. Kaihong was so scared that she forgot to cry when she saw the blood on Sima Yoyue's mouth. Chongming, do you really not want to continue walking with us? We're all waiting for you. Give us a reply. Chongming, I don't think I can hold on any longer. Chongming, are you willing to form a contract with me? Sima Yue felt that her consciousness was getting blurry. She didn't even know what she was saying. But suddenly, a weak voice seemed to split open the chaos and woke her up. I'm willing. Although it was weak, the laws of heaven and earth could still sense it. The contract formation finally completed and wrapped the two of them together. Success! Success! Kaihong shouted happily. Old Man Devil saw this change, and his heart finally calmed down. Once the contract was formed, it ended very quickly. When the light dissipated, Chongming in his human form appeared in front of everyone again. He was carrying the unconscious Sima Yue in his arms. Sister. Kaihong started to cry again. The light of leveling up enveloped the two of them again. Chongming leveled up and became a level 3 sacred beast. Sima Yue leveled up from level 2 to level 5, a full 3 small levels. Old Man Devil felt sorry for Sima Yue. If Chongming wasn't injured and she didn't suffer the backlash of the contract, she would have leveled up even more. Kaihong flew to Chongming's shoulder and looked at the pale face of Sima Yue. She asked, Hubby, how did you recover so quickly? Is sister all right? Her situation is a bit serious. Chongming looked at Sima Yue with a pained expression. He knew how dangerous it was for her. He placed Sima Yue on the bed and turned to look at Old Man Devil. Why did hubby's injuries heal but not sister's? Kaihong didn't understand. Old Man Devil walked over to check on Sima Yoyue's condition. He said, Chongming's injuries were caused by an external force. When the contract was formed, they were all healed. However, Yoyue's injuries were caused by the backlash of the contract. That's why the contract didn't heal her. Then what do we do? The backlash of the contract can only be slowly healed. It depends on her own recovery. For an ordinary person, they should be able to recover in a year and a half. Old Man Devil said. She won't be able to cultivate for a year. Let's feed her some healing pills first. The news of Sima Yoyue's injuries quickly spread throughout the Sima family. Everyone felt sorry for her and was happy that she had formed a contract with a sacred beast. Knowing that she might not be able to cultivate for a year and a half, everyone felt sorry for her. Now was the best time for her to cultivate. A year's time was enough for her to improve a lot. However, Sima Yoyue's next actions made everyone's jaws drop. Didn't they say that she would be bedridden for a month? How did she get out of bed after 3 days? Didn't they say that she wouldn't be able to use spiritual energy for half a year? How did she start to use spiritual energy in less than half a month? Everyone was shocked by her. Even Old Man Devil felt that it was inconceivable. After asking again, Sima Yue told him that she had a divine demon physique that could heal injuries automatically. After knowing Sima Yoyue's situation, Old Man Devil went silent. He was crying in his heart. Why were all the disciples that he had taken in abnormal bodies? One had an incomplete soul, and the other had a divine demon physique. Her life could be in danger at any time. Was he extremely lucky or extremely unlucky? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.